It's like you're getting props. That becomes addicting. Just attention in general, you're getting addicted to that. And then you're getting addicted to the high that you get when you're dancing on the floor. And that was a period of my life too. A period in my life where people doubted me. You know, they told me I wasn't gonna be any good. So I would hit these postpartum depressions.
Yo, welcome to Cypher Beast TV. We got a B-boy, Far East. He started dancing as a popper. He's in a crew such as Del Feugo. We got no other than Heat Rock. On this episode, we'll be going over his journey, mental health, inspirations, musicality, style, the Olympics, and more. I'm your host, Tony47. Do me a huge favor, subscribe to this channel, like it, share it, and enjoy this episode. Yo, what up, guys? We got a real sick blessing today with one of the dopest B-boy. He's been in competitions all around the world. We got B-boy Heat Rock. What's up, man? How you doing?
It's good. Pleasure to be here, bro.
Dope. If you can explain in about, as briefly as you can you tell me about yourself? How did you get quickly started, and what crews are you in, and how long you been dancing?
I've been dancing now roughly about, I would say about 30 years and counting. If you ask my mom, I've been dancing since I was 2. I got into popping first when I was about 12. And then I just got into breaking around the age of 16. And I was kind of doing both. I grew up in Georgia, so I didn't really have much guidance or idea of what I was doing. I just, I saw it. First time I saw breaking was on TV. That's basically how it came to the South. It was through TV, movies, commercials, things like that. And then when I was 19, graduated from high school. When I was 20, I moved to Boston, Massachusetts. That's where my parents were from. And I was living in Dorchester. And I met the Floor Lords when I was like about 20. And I started dancing with them. But I was recruited as a popper, not as a b-boy. So I kind of put breaking on the back burner. I wasn't really breaking anymore. I was just popping with them. I popped with them for about 6 or 7 years. So by the time I was 25, 26, I left the crew. And then I started breaking again, and I helped found the crew that I'm in now, Del Fuego Wolfpack. I'm also a part of another crew up in Montreal called Cypher Sons. And I've been breaking ever since. I got back into breaking around that time.
Dang, dope. And I know you you enter like a lot of dope competitions, a lot of high level competitions. Can you name a few of those competitions that you have entered? I'm sure there's a dozen, or not even. Just to be right. You did freestyle session. You got to finals last 2022, right, with Kid Rainin?
Yes, I did freestyle session. I've done Just a Boo. I've done what's the name of this damn jam? Man, I've done Massive Monkeys. I've entered some Red Bulls. I've done Jesus, man, you're asking a tough question. It's
okay.
I got it. I can do this. I got it.
Okay. I think those are some big ones you named just now, anyways.
Yeah, no, I've done quite a few. Silverback. I've done Silverback.
Okay.
Yeah. When it was around, the one out in Philly, and then I've done some, a whole bunch of top rock competitions. All there used to be BAM up in Montreal. That was a big one. Yeah. At least those are the ones that jump off the top of my head for right now.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys want to learn more about Heat Rock, B-boy Heat Rock, just look him up on YouTube or social media. You guys will find a whole list of competitions he's been in, right? And so I know that your style, your dance is very appealing. You rock the beat. Your flow is very gravitating the style, right? And have you always been like that? Kind of.
Well, the way that I'm going to say it is, it's growth. Okay. I'm a visual artist, so I look at everything as experimental, and you experiment and you finally find what you're looking for. My style, I emulate mostly the cats from the 70s and 80s because that is how I saw it when I was a kid. I was born in 82. So when I first saw breaking, I saw it in movies, and that's what it looked like to me. Um,
Okay.
the this newer generation and the way people execute it now, it's cool, but I just really enjoyed watching the guys from the 70s and the 80s and the way that they did it. There was a level of intricacy and a way of dancing that is just not around today. Looking at the African influence from African tribes and how, we pulled from all of these old dances like tap and Lindy Hop and the Charleston and the cakewalk, and how all of those and salsa, all these things influenced this dance. When you look at those dances and then you look at the early forms of breaking, you can see those dances. You really don't see those dances that much anymore. So did I always have this style? No. Like when I first started
Mhm.
trying to, yeah, I looked at it and I was like, it's fucking cool to spin on the ground like that. Let me try to spin on my head. Wow, look at this air flare. Let me get this.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't until I was dancing with Floor Lords as a popper, I just saw a lot of the dopest dancers in the world. I saw a lot of them. And I saw a lot when I was in just dancing in that crew and hanging out with some of them. And some of these guys that are now they were my age, but I was a popper. And they were in their prime when I was in my 20s. And, now they're 40 and stuff like that. But watching them and getting influenced by them, but also watching the older generation, I started to pull away from the idea of power. And then I
Mhm.
really got pulled away from doing a lot of tricks and power, because there was one B-boy that I was hanging out with when I started getting back into breaking. And the way he looked at the dance was annoying. It was really, it was very jockish, very pig-headed, like it's supposed to be done like this. You got to do these moves. And I was coming from popping, and popping was about groove and dance and rhythm. And I'm coming from that dance and coming into breaking. And now it's just like, do these robotic moves, because then you'll win. I just didn't like that perspective. I thought it was
Mhm.
stupid, and I thought it was quite boring. And then I said, well, where's the fun in that? I said, if you're going to do the same thing over and over, like, doesn't anybody get bored of that? Because that's
Yeah.
how it was in popping. Like, if you kept doing the same shit over and over, nobody gave a fuck about you after a while. And then it blows my mind
Yeah.
still till this day in breaking, where motherfucking can do the same round over and over and no one gets tired of it. And I'm like, we saw him do that last week. He was just wearing a blue shirt. Like, am I taking
Uh-huh.
crazy pills here? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I guess that was have I always danced like that? To answer your question, no. I grew into it. I started to have a better
Mhm.
understanding and a deeper passion and love for the actual style of the dance. And I guess that it made me smile to watch the older generation create the way that they did, and the ideas that they came up with. And some of those ideas are not around anymore, but that stuff looked really cool to me. And
Yeah.
I want to do that. I want to move like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I see now today is kind of like, I mean, even the past or like just even myself, it's like, how do you let go and feel that movement, the musicality, and let go of what people are thinking and just be you, right? I think there's not just I, but a lot of people kind of get that self doubt of, because like I practice for me, I would get down and do like I'll hit the beat, rock this beat, and do things I don't even remember I did because I was freestyling, right? Because the music kind of took over me. But for me to do that at a jam or a
Mhm.
competition is very different because I don't feel it that way. Because
Mhm.
I'm probably all the nervous, all the jitters, stuff like that. But if I'm able to do what I do at practice at a jam, that would be dope, right? And I
Yeah.
think the knowledge, the mindset, the creativity, I think all factors in to just kind of be yourself at the time. I
Mhm.
definitely believe a lot of, that what creates dance, right?
Mhm.
Within the break dance, right? Because you're dancing the meat in a breaking style.
Right. I mean, you're you're saying what most people in my experience, most of the dancers in my experience, and when I say most, I stress most, even your top B-boy, B-girl that's been winning everything, they're I would say they don't really express who they really are. I would say they're
Mm,
expressing their
yes.
ideas more
Yeah. Yeah.
because it gets hard. And I'm not mad at them and I don't blame them because you're there and you need to win. And in order for you to win, you need to, you've got to do all of this stuff. So what happens is you get self-conscious and you go, if I go out there and I start moving like this, like I might embarrass myself. Like,
Uh-huh.
so let me just do this air flare to 90, drop down, catch it, and everyone's gonna love it. And I get it's guaranteed that I won't embarrass myself. And are you really
Yeah.
expressing who you really are? And that's one of the things that I always try to keep in mind when I'm on the dance floor. I try to really express what I'm feeling at that time. It's hit or miss too. Like it really is. And I was talking to one of my homies. Um, I'm not going to put his name out there because I don't know if
Right.
I need
Right.
his permission for that. But we were talking, and he was, he's going into a transition of his life and his dance, and he was like, he's like, he's like, I want to know more about what you're doing. And the thing I said to him, I said, okay, well, if you're going to do this, you need to be okay with losing.
Mm.
Like you need to be okay with that. And I don't think a lot of people are okay with losing. And I think this guy, what's this guy's name that
That's a
everybody,
great way.
this one artist that everybody likes. I can't think of his name right now. Um,
He's a breaker or b-boy
no,
or
he's a singer. John Legend, I think it is.
oh, John
John.
Legend. Okay.
Yeah, so he was making all these albums, and then all of a sudden he broke his contracts and he went independent. And I forget what artist
Mm.
was talking to him, but another artist who's still in a contract, still making millions and whatnot. He said, "Yo, man, like you took a big risk by jumping off the contract and everything like that, but you make the music you want to make, and you're
Yeah.
happy." And he says, "How do you do it? How'd you do it?" And he said, "You need to be comfortable with making less."
Mm.
You need to be comfortable with making less money. And if you're not comfortable with making less money, you're going to be a slave to the industry no matter what. And I think a lot of people are very uncomfortable with expressing who they really are, and they're uncomfortable with losing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and this shows up in a lot of different ways. If you're uncomfortable with losing, guess what you do? You perform like shit when you go to battles, or you just don't compete at all, or you find some sort of excuse to blame why this is not working out for you. And some kids, what I see, they drown themselves in drugs and alcohol because
Mm.
they can't really face the fact that, like, yo, bro, it's the drugs, it's the alcohol. You're not facing yourself, your anxieties. You're not facing it. And because you're not
Yeah.
facing that anxiety, you're having a hard time getting over that hump. So therefore, you're not going to get the solution you're looking for, and some people have that issue. And then others, they might not be that type of winner. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that was something that I'm comfortable with. I'm comfortable with losing. And a lot of people are like, yo, that one jam and you won it. I was like, I didn't win that, bro. That was a prelim round. I didn't even get selected. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
You smoked everybody there. I was like, no, I didn't. That was a fucking prelim round. I didn't get picked. And they were like, I could have swore you won. And I was like, yeah, it's a clip that is more memorable. Nobody talks about the fucking jam. Everybody's talking about the goddamn clip I made. But
Right.
I got mad work from it. So I try to remind kids like, yo, you don't gotta win. Like there's dudes I walk in the room with and they know who I am. They say what's up. They appreciate what I do, but they're champions. They win everything. But at the same
Yes.
time, they've given me respect for what I've done. They understand that
Yeah.
we've got two different mindsets on how we think about the dance. So for yourself, when you're saying like, man, I get ready and then I get in the jam and then I end up doing this. Even sometimes I do it to a degree. And and I'm like, I get in my own head, and then I forget, yo, bro, just let it go. It's not that big of a deal. Like, it's not that serious. Like, what are they gonna do? Like,
Right.
what are they gonna do? Like, what are they gonna do, bro? You went out, you was whack, you was whack, bro. I still go, and dudes are still saying I'm whack.
Uh-huh.
And I'm still whack. I just won this. You're still whack. Like, that was still corny. Oh, you didn't do this. You can't please everybody. You're not gonna please everybody, bro. Like,
Yeah.
me and Eddie, we just did the Top Rock battle out in France. We won.
Okay.
We still got, there were still comments like this was whack. They didn't do anything. I don't see how these Americans won. Oh, well, these guys aren't even. That guy's not even. Everybody's got a fucking opinion. Like, it's like, and now you're going out there and you're choking up because you're worried about the opinions that are there, and it's like, motherfuckers is gonna have opinion no matter what. You know,
Right.
you know, it doesn't matter at this point. I made that. I made a video clip the other day. Someone had
Right.
an they had a negative opinion. Like, it's okay, bro. It's like, eh, if you can't see what I'm making and I'm creating right here, you're missing out. That's
Yeah.
just you.
Yeah.
So don't. I would say to yourself, don't don't like do the world. It's your art. Like, it's your art. Like, present your art to the world. And don't sell yourself short because you're worried about what people are going to think. And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I get in my head every now and then. I'm not going to sit here and be like, act like I'm on this magical thing where I don't worry about what people think about. I have to stop and pause and say, well, does it fucking matter? Yeah, I might, pout a little bit and say, oh, this motherfucker. But then the next day I'm like, man, I'm creating something. I don't got no time for this, bro. Like, you're a clown.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to tell me what to do with my footwork? Who are you to tell me what to do with my top rock? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
you're just jealous or mad because you're not in that position. And after I say this on this interview, trust me, someone's gonna come in you. Oh, what are you interviewing him for? He doesn't even, like. And
Right.
I think that's what makes our culture actually quite beautiful too.
It
Is it
is.
because of
Yeah.
all of the opinions, and like, it would be boring if we didn't have the other opinion. We'd be quite a stale society.
Yeah. Yeah, and definitely. And with to elaborate a little bit more too, it's like
You're
I what's up? Am I cutting out?
I'm on an interview. What's up? All right, word, peace. Yeah.
Um, so to elaborate a little bit more upon that is like, my mindset is definitely shifted the last couple of years, right? Where I'm thinking of the opposite. Oh, I don't want to win. Maybe more losses is better to get that win because you want obviously failure to succeed to the next, right? Because without it, you're unable to grow, you know.
Hmm.
And so I'm taking a lot of things as in a life perspective, not just within breaking, but I use the breaking as a lifestyle with other things too. And
Hmm.
so my losses is for me to gain. And for me to have people care what I do in my style is definitely that's a mindset holding some people back. It held me back for a while, and now I'm just like I'm getting to the point. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just gonna do what I want to feel like, and I want to do. If you don't like it, that's you, right? But maybe some other people will like it, and that's
Hmm.
the beauty of kind of what you said, where it's the beauty of both sides. And
Yeah.
so yeah, no, it's dope. Like it's a whole lifestyle through it. And I think not just in breaking, I think we get that through everything, hobbies and work and job, everything we do in life.
Hmm.
There's always going to be some sort of person out there that will hate or might not see what you see, but brings the beauty of your art out there. And so, yeah, no, that's real dope, man. And
Yeah.
watching your clip, you getting down and top rock and hitting the floor. Oh man, dude, like you're raw. You're mad raw. Like I don't know how to explain it, but watching you, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's nasty.
Thanks,
And
man.
And when you're saying through content, what are your thoughts on content? Because I know you recently did a few posts recently. Definitely, I love the humor you have upon some of those videos you have out there,
Yeah.
which a lot of people can relate. I can relate to it, and I'm
Mhm.
sure hundreds of thousands of other people can relate to it.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts within content, and what is your creative when you're posting too? Like, are you I know like one of the trends you recently did was it's still popping now. It's like, hey, I'm a b-boy, I do this, but other people are doing things like, hey, I'm Asian, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm a real estate agent and I do this, right? So that's what's trending right now, those type
Mhm.
of things. What is your, thought through your content in the media side?
So I have several talents. I know how to, I went to art school. I know how to video edit. I know how to paint. I know how to draw. I know how to sculpt. I also did acting when I was younger. I've
Okay.
done some acting as an adult as well too. I was in the Get Down. I've done some commercials here and there. I've also done some modeling and things like that. And I grew up watching a lot of movies, horror, comedy, action. And so I'm like, all right, let's use some of these talents. And I wasn't really big on doing a lot of these things on social media. And I think last year I started just goofing around with it because I'm getting older. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, there's this TV show called The Daily Show. And I don't know if you know what this one is, The Daily Show. It's the
Not clear.
it's on Comedy Central. It's like the news broadcast show, and they talk about politics, but they make a lot of fun of it. Trevor Noah was the last one, and I forget who was the one before that.
Okay.
But it's called The Daily Show, and it's a news broadcasting show, but they poke fun at politics. And it came out years ago, and it was really, really, really popular at one point. And there was an article that came out about all these news broadcasting channels started popping up that were poking fun at politics, but they were telling the truth, right? It wasn't lies. But it was poking fun at it. And in an article, it said, why is this so popular now? And they said, because they're educating and shedding light on situations through comedy, and
Mm,
it's sticking
yeah.
more, and more people are more prone to watch it. And so, because there's a comedic aspect to it. So that always stuck with me. So then I recently went through some crazy shit, and I was a lot of weird things were happening to me with just coming in contact with other humans. Like, the higher I climbed as a b-boy, the
Mhm.
weirder the fans got. And some of it was unwanted attention. And it wasn't like weird fans, it was like crazy stuff, like threats and, weird stuff. And I was just like,
Wow.
what's going on here? And I just wasn't used to that. And I was just like, what is going on here? This can't be my life, right?
Yeah.
So of course, during the pandemic, I was like, all right, let me jump on this therapy thing. I've been wanting to do this for years, but I've just been so busy jumping around from jam to jam and trying to make money. I didn't really get a chance to stop and check myself, right? So I
Mhm.
started going to therapy, and I really started getting into the psychology of human behavior. I really kind of started getting into it. And I started getting into mental health and why people did the things that they did and why people thought the way that they thought, and even myself. And why was this my reaction? And how can I make this better? And why do I want to do this? Right. So that's why I started making the content that I was making.
Okay.
So first, I started doing the comedy things on Top Rock, like what I saw people doing in the Top Rock field. And I was really poking fun at some of the things that people did from what I saw in Top Rock. Either A, they thought it was super dope and it was whack, or they just needed a little bit more guidance. And I was just poking fun at, like, this is what you look like. And, I just want you to know that this is the starter kit. Like this is the starter kit to Top Rock, right? So when I mean starter kit, if you talk to like people like Why Not and Eddie, myself, and my boy Nemesis, even another guy, I mean 187, Floor Phantom, Wacko, Stuntman, Hannibal, who was there's some whole bunch of other guys out there that I looked up to in the Top Rock game. Lady C was another one. The homegirl Wanda. Maka's doing her thing with Top Rock, and so and the homie Kaz up in Canada. There's some cats over in Europe, but anyway, these guys and girls, we're like 1% when it comes to like Top Rock.
Okay.
And it's because we're a very low percentage of people that can really kill it. It's a very low percent. And a lot of people think that they were like, like, what do you think I could smoke you. And I would look, and I'm like, you got the starter kit, bro. So I started making these clips. And then I was like, well, I'm having fun doing this. So I said, all right, let me remind people of music that they no longer dance to. So I started doing the beats that you forgot were dope. And then I started doing the PSA announcements and trying to remind people of their mental health. And then I started seeing all the trends online. And then I saw we're real estate agents, we're flight attendants, we're Black, we're Asian, and I saw those and I said, well, where's the dance ones?
Right.
And it was just like, well, you know what? And I saw one, somebody did one, graffiti. I'm also a writer. So I saw a writing one, and the guy was like, we're toys. We're going to say we stole the paint, but we really paid for it because we're toys. We're toys. We only use Krylon because we're toys, you know? And I thought he did pretty good. And it was really I thought that one was really fucking funny. And I was just like, wow, you know, he's really calling out the toy shit that people do as writers. So I said, fuck it, I think I'm gonna do one about breaking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started writing down all of the things that I thought that B-boys and B-girls do that they don't even realize is some backward shit sometimes. But at the same time, it's what makes the culture what it is, right? And so I said, well, I'll just do this one. And so I just started writing everything down. And then I just got my camera and I just started walking and I just started venting. And I thought about all the things that I've either done or that I've experienced, you know, watching people like, and one kid wrote something recently online about a competition he had won. And he won the competition and he was like, it's fucked up how I have to leave my country just to get props. And I said, oh boy, here we go. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk about this. So I made it.
Yeah.
I'm poking fun. I'm like, this is your attitude. It's got nothing to do with the scene. It's your attitude. You know, and everybody's like, oh no, that's fact, that's fake, that's whack, because hip hop's supposed to be like this. Yeah, that's fucked up heat. That shit is whack, that's corny. And I said, but look how you're acting. You know, it's like I just showed you a mirror. That's all I did. I just held a mirror in your face. And you just don't want to look at yourself. So I'm like, this is what I had to do when I went through therapy. I had to look at myself in the mirror. And I had to laugh at myself in some cases. And this is what I want people to do. I want you to look at yourself and laugh. You know, and one of the homies hit me up, the homie Wild Child from X-Fiend, shout out. And he's like, yo, bro, that shit's funny. He's like, that was me. You know, like, you know, and I was like, yeah, you know, that's what I want. Like, I want you to be like, yeah, I did that. You know, Samo wrote some shit. He's like, bro, stop talking about my life, you know, and people laughed about it. But the ones that can't laugh at themselves, I'm like, this is especially for you. You know, if you can't laugh at yourself, if you can't check yourself, you're going to get stuck in that loop, bro. And we all know what that loop looks like. You know what I'm talking about. We all know what that looks like, bro. All right. Don't lose your head in this shit. Like, step back, take a look. You know, you can be a lot greater than what you are. Don't get caught in that loop. I'm just pointing out the facts, dog. I'm not talking, I ain't saying shit that's not right, that hasn't been said or done before. What did I tell you? Did I say anything that's not true in there? So
Right.
I started making that because I'm like, hey, I went through this and I had to check myself because I want to be a better person.
Yeah.
You know, I want things for myself. And, you know, the breaking thing is it can be really dangerous if you don't open your eyes eventually. You know, I'm not
Mm,
saying you need to go buy a house. I'm not saying you need to go make millions, but I am saying open your eyes occasionally and make sure you're not falling into a pit at least, you
right.
know?
Definitely.
Yeah. I just seen too many cats lose their brain, lose their minds.
I really appreciate saying that. You know, a lot of people might keep that to themselves. Hey, I've been to therapy. You know, vice. You know, talking about that, and really thank you for bringing that up, because I think definitely, you know, part of it as being a human being is, and breaking, you know, is the mindset in believing in yourself, the self confidence. It comes within you. It's all mindset, right? And without that main part of loving yourself, how are you going to grow and be better down the road, right? Don't let it, these certain negative, eat you up and make you the worst out of you, what you could have been or can be now. Or, you know, you don't, hopefully, you know, this type of stuff, as this podcast brings value to the listeners and audience that are listening, because I think this type of stuff brings a lot of value to
Mm-hmm.
not just you and I discussing, but other people. I think that's the main thing is, yeah, self-reflection, you know, stop hating the world. It's everything might not go as perfect as you planned, but, you know, look in that mirror and you know,
Yeah.
how can you fix things? How can you make things better? So that's dope. Thank you for that. That's tight. Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah, for
man.
sure, bro. Yeah.
And I love that you're open with it. And I think that is some truthful stuff. And that's real dope. And definitely inspiring too. You know, inspired me that you brought that up, because a lot of people don't bring it up. And I really hope this brings up and inspire other people. You know, as we're talking about inspirations, um, what inspires you to keep doing this? Um, I think you mentioned, you know, you're in the 40s. You hit that 40 verse 40 at freestyle session last year, or 2022, that is. And you know, what inspire you to keep dancing until now? Like, I know there's challenges and road bumps throughout to that journey.
I have
Um,
just always loved music and I've always loved dance. And well, you know, there's been some challenges and there's been some bumps in the road, but that's with anything that you love doing. Some of them, it's funny enough, the most difficult thing for me with dance is actually dating. That is
uh-huh.
that is the most difficult thing. Everybody's like, "Oh no, it's power, it's my footwork." I'm like, bro, that's just part of the dance. That shit. You can fix that. That you can fix that. Like,
Uh-huh.
you know, I think that having relationships outside of dance is the toughest thing because of the fact on how we zero in on the art so much, and then our
Yeah.
communication skills start to fall apart. Our social skills also fall apart. We're only socializing and we're only hanging around dancers.
Right. Yeah.
Our dating pool becomes the dance scene, and that can get dangerous. And it can also get it can get very confusing and cluttered because your dating pool is just dancers. And, at some point you have to stop yourself and say, I'm going to keep going through the same cycle over and over if I don't get out of this. Um,
Yeah.
so that was one of the toughest challenges was for me to be able to step away and say, okay, no more dating amongst dancers. Like, this is not going to work out. Like, it's just not working. And then I had to work on my social skills all over again. Like, you know, I got so focused on the dance that if you played a top 40 song for me, I just had no idea what that was. You know, I was so immersed in the culture of hip hop that, you know, oh, you check out this new artist. And I'm like, the fuck is this shit, man? Like, you know, it's really, I was like, man, I am so detached, you know,
Okay.
and, you know, that was something, but really what kept me motivated to keep going, I just loved fucking dancing. I love getting down. Like I love expressing that part of my body. Like I just liked it. You know, when I was younger, it was about showing off. Like, check out this new move I
Right.
got. I learned how to do a windmill in my garage. I'm about to fuck everybody up in high school now. Check it out, guys. You know, and then, you know, at some point, you know, girls are looking and they're like, oh, he doing stuff, you know,
Yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah, for sure.
And then it's like, all right, cool. And then you go, I'm gonna go to a competition, and then you're like, wait, I want a competition, I want some money, and I
Mhm.
want some stuff. This is kind of cool. And then it's like you start, you know, people start. It was like when I was writing, you know, like when I was writing, you know, you're kind of you're getting up, you know, and you're winning, you know, like people start, oh, yo, that's a bomb ass tag, or like, yo, that's that, yo, man, your pieces are dope, man. Like, oh, you paint really good, you know, like at least that's what I wanted to get, but you know, as a painter, but
Yeah.
it's like you're getting props, and that becomes addicting, like addictive. You know, you're
Yeah.
getting addicted to attention from women. You're getting addicted to, well, just attention in general. You're getting addicted to that. And then you're getting addicted to the high that you get when you're dancing on the floor. And that was
Mm.
a period of my life too. That was a period. And then there was a period in my life where people doubted me. You know, they told me I wasn't going to be any good. They
Yeah.
said that I couldn't do it. You're not going to be any good as a b-boy, you know. You and you know, and I was like, challenge accepted, you know.
Yeah.
And I went out there, and there was a period that was my motivation, was proving someone wrong. And the problem was with all of these motivations that there's a ceiling to all of them, and once you achieve them, now it's like, now what? So I would hit these postpartum depressions after
Mhm.
meeting all of these goals. And then I realized I needed to set a new goal. And I had to get back to the original reason why I was dancing in the first place. I had to find my way
Love
back to
it.
that.
Yeah.
Right. And so that is what motivated me to stay dancing again, because I came back to it and like, well, why'd you start doing it in the first place? You've always enjoyed it. You've always loved it, and you did it for yourself. You didn't do it for anybody else.
Yeah.
And you did it because it really was a way for you to zone out and let go. And so when I see kids go through and all they're doing is these robotic moves, and I'm just like, where you zone out and let go.
Yeah.
And you'll see, this is why I like ciphering more, because the guys that were winning, this is why I enjoy watching them cipher than I enjoyed watching them battle. You know, some of these kids, when they're ciphering, they're on a whole other level. They're letting loose now. They're not doing the moves for everybody to go, ooh. They're just
Yeah.
getting busy in the cipher, and people are not going, ooh. They're really like going, fuck, what the hell was that? That was insane. Like, what was that moment? Like, did anybody record that? No, Stance is not around. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
where's Daniel, bro? What are you doing, bro? Like, you know, that's one thing I miss too. I miss recorded ciphers, and nobody's
Yeah.
doing that anymore. All we see is battles, and I think that's really what's affecting the way the scene is going. We don't see people creating in the moment anymore. You
Mm.
know, you got these young kids coming now. They cipher, they do the same thing in the cipher that they're going to go and do in the battle. And I'm like, okay, this kid doesn't know how to dance. This kid doesn't know how to get down. And then you still in my face, you just got done battling. Now you want to call me out and you're still doing the rounds that you did in the cypher earlier. Then you did that in the battle. And now you're calling me out with those same moves. Like, doesn't work that way, kid. You
Right.
know, like I really, some of the kids that I call out, Dino Rock.
I can't familiar, right? I seen the name like a bunch of
Yeah,
times.
poor guy. Good guy too, like, and his footwork is amazing. I called him out not because I was jealous of anything. I just was like, I just want to see what you're fucking made of.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to see your battle rounds. I just want to see what you're fucking made of, bro. I've called out Why Not. I've called out Wacko. I've called out Eddie. I've called out a few other dancers here and there. I call them out, and it's not that I'm calling them out because I think I'm better than you. I just want to see what you're fucking made of, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see your battle moves. I just want to see what the fuck you got. Like your other shit. Like, let me see your secret stash. That's what I want to see. And then
Yeah.
they whipping out that other stuff. And or some kids, I caught them by surprise. They got confused because I'm calling them out and they're like, this guy's not throwing a single move. Like, what do I do against this? And I'm like, nah, I just want to see what you're made of. I want to see how you're going to respond to this. Like, this is like this thing. And it's not no weird ass shit. It's just really like, yo, like, really, like, what are you going to get down to? So I think that's also what motivated me is like just those types of moments. Goofing around with my buddies,
Yeah.
seeing the dudes that I haven't seen in years because they live in another state or country. That always kept me motivated, for long lost friends, like friends I haven't I was getting down with them back in the day. And then I go to a jam and they pop up and they're just like, yeah, I saw the flyer randomly and they hadn't been dancing for years. That stuff keeps me motivated. It's just memories and people that I came up with. Like, I really don't I don't really care too much about like all the newer shit that's happening. I'm more like, I just want to see my people. Like, I just want to get
Yeah.
down, like to leave my mark and go. Like, if I lost, so what? Some people are like, I beat you. And I'm like, great job, buddy. Like, you're 19. I'm 41. Like,
Right.
like, congratulations, dog. You did it. Like, and I don't think a lot of these kids get it. And they're just like, what the fuck? Like, why did that guy do that? Like, and they're confused, and there's a few people I call out because I don't like them. I'll let them know though. And I'll just
Yeah.
be like, I've never really been a fan of you, so, this needs to happen. So it's just like, and it becomes these types of things. Those are some things that keep me going as well too. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm Mr. Kumbaya all the time. I'm a lot more laxed and chilled out now. I usually now somebody comes at me with beef. I usually try to avoid it before it gets worse, because I just don't have
Uh-huh.
the energy for it. I'm picking my fights wisely and I'm like, I'll just tell them like, is this worth it? Like,
Yeah.
what do you get at? What are we going to get out of this? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, don't you have kids? Don't you have a dream that you want to follow? Like, why
Oh
are you,
yeah.
like,
100%.
why are you spending your every waking moment trying to harass me, bro? Like go conquer the world,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah. I
know?
got a few buddies. I was growing up in certain crews and stuff like that, right? And then I had a buddy that was a crewmate. He was telling me, he's like, "Hey, I don't want to pull this out in the cipher because I'm gonna do that in the battle, right?" And so, like, how do you feel in those perspectives? Like, if I saw you did this certain combo, maybe like signature or something like that in the ciphers, are you okay doing it in the battles, or do you kind of factor that out and be like, "Oh, you already did that.
No, that's done for the night.
That is done for the night." Okay.
It's done for the night. Like, that shit ain't happening later. So I did that unless I'm that fucking desperate. Like it's done. It's done for the night. So usually
Okay.
what I usually try to do is challenge myself. Like when I cipher now, you'll probably see some shit. You're like, that's heat rock. And it's like I'm just making it up as it goes, like because I'm like, I'm not using none of my shit. I'm not gonna go
Mm,
in. I'm not
yeah.
gonna use my shit right now. You're gonna see me later. Like, why the fuck? And I needed to challenge myself. So even when I called kids out, like I wouldn't throw a single move. I'm not gonna throw none of that because that shit was for the competition.
Okay.
That's what that's for. That
Yeah.
it's for that. But this is a different type of competition. I want to see what you're made of.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to see how quick you can think. How fast is your brain going to think? Like, wait, how well do you know your body? We all know I can do a windmill, you can do a windmill, but what can you do with that windmill in that moment? You still going to bust the same fucking windmill you're going to go bust over there? Or you're going to take that chance and say, well, I know how a windmill works. What if I throw my hand out in the middle of it, pause it, slide the other one over while kicking my legs over like a windmill, swim it under, then go into freeze? Just making this up right now, right?
Yeah.
Just right now in this moment, taking that chance. Even if it fails, something else is going to happen. Okay? You wanted to throw your torso over, your torso didn't make it, but your legs did some crazy shit. And now that this part's stuck, those legs are still going, whoop, whoop, still like a wrap. Wait, we still got balance. Throw the legs back, pop the arm back up. Niggas is going to be like, yo, what the fuck was that? I was trying to do a windmill, but this came out. And then you're like, wait, I should start trusting myself a little bit more. That's what I'm doing when I'm battling. When I'm battling, I'm like, I should trust myself a little bit more, just a little bit. I mean, we've been doing the backflip for 40 years now. I think we fucking got it. Well, you know, I've been doing these kickouts for 20 years now. I think I fucking got it. I don't got to do the same kick, walk, 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 walk. I think I fucking got it at this point. Let's go kick out, twist, drop, come back up, kick out, pull it back and go up, go into the legs, boom, boom, boom. And we're trying to do something different as we're going. Meantime, the beat is going, and now I'm trying to follow that. What is boom, 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 boom? And it's, holy shit, what just happened? All you need is a basic understanding and an imagination. That's all you need. Like these dudes is like, you got to get this and this. I'm like, nigga, all you really need is 2 air flares, 2 good ones, 2 good fucking 90s, 2 good windmills, 2 good ones. That's all you need. And the rest is fucking all she wrote. You know, you just need 2 good ones. If you can get 4 good ones, you good. Like, you know, dudes is going for 10, 11, 12. That's their own personal goal. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm saying break that record. Go for the 40. You set that goal for yourself. You do that. But if that ain't your goal and you're really trying to like, man, I'm really trying to tap into this dance shit. I'm like, I think you know your body well enough, bro.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I mean, you know, like speed that corkscrew up, bro. You've been doing it for 20 years. Like you can let go, nigga. Like you can let go, bro. Like you got it. Like, you know, some people just don't think like that. They, you know, we get the manual, right? Here's the manual to Breaking. Here you go. And everybody's reading from it. And it's like, it's done like this. It says it on page 12. I'm like, yeah, fuck page 12, bro.
Right.
Like, I think you got it. Like, I think that the first guys who did it, that's what they were doing. They were making it up as they went along. They were creating things. How do you think it even grew to where it came to today? Half the moves they made were accidents. You know, like, and people don't really talk about that. They really they think these guys came up with these moves and then, yeah, that's what happened. It's like, and now some of these stories were accidents. Yeah. You know, some of these creations some of the best creations came from the worst mistakes. You know, and I think a lot of times people don't go onto that dance floor and do those types of things, you know, and some people, they think they got style. And I'm like, you ain't got no style, bro. You're just full of yourself. Fucking full of yourself, bro. Like, you know, I'm feeling the beat. I'm like, bro, you just feeling yourself, dog. Like, it's, you know, that's just how I look at it, bro. Like,
damn, that was dope as shit. Like, I don't think anybody can explain anything better than what you just did. That was visual. That was like you paint a whole picture in my head and like relate to a lot of the stuff that you just mentioned within that. No, that's tight. That's tight. Because yeah, I definitely think, as in a cipher battle, doing those certain move signatures and doing competition can be separated as well. I mean, it depends how much you use it, I guess, or how distinctive it looks from this, signature is signature, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, cool, man, dude, that's so tight. This I'm learning a lot as we go through the podcast and talking to you as well. Like I'm learning a lot from you as we speak, and hopefully the viewers and audience will get a value as well. Everyone's mindset is a little different, but I am processing a lot of things quickly as you're explaining it. So I'm like, yeah, that makes totally sense. As a
Yeah, yeah.
breakdancer, as a b-boy perspective, right? And so, dang, cool, man. So, what are you? I know like I saw some of your content. Are you teaching right now? Like workshops or like top rock teaching or something?
Well, I teach a class regularly at 360 Flow. It's in Brooklyn, New York. The owner
Okay.
is B-Boy Flonetic of Full Circle. If you guys are unfamiliar with Full Circle, that's Quick and Rockefeller's crew. And Flonetic is one of their students. His lovely wife Mantis is she also teaches there as well. I host an open practice there. I used to teach at Wondrous. The owner was Jen from Floor Sessions.
Okay.
That recently closed down, but I teach every Tuesday from 6 to 7:30, and I just really go over the basics of top rock and footwork and freezes and basic transitions, basic power. We mostly focus on top rock and footwork. The class is really mainly just to kind of get people started and get them started off right,
Yeah.
so that they have an understanding of dance and music and musicality. And then when they break off to their prospective crews or their mentors or whoever they're going to break off and dance with, they already have something to work with. And that I try to help them build some confidence in getting onto the floor and explaining to them what the culture is like and what they're getting themselves into and things like that. This is mainly what I try to focus on. When I do workshops, the workshops are a way to make money. And the only thing about the workshops I don't like is because it's like, let's go. All right, everybody get up. We're going to do this. Bye.
Right.
You learn a couple of new things and it's about it. It's not really, I can't really go into depth the way that I would like to. So recently I've been trying to sell a lecture that I want to start just doing more
Mm,
lectures really and talking about the
yeah.
history of hip hop culture and the history of breaking and
Yeah.
including hopping, because that's something that I did for a while. And just also trying to get kids to understand that it's just not sport. Okay. It's something that we do. The sport aspect is a part of it, but a lot of these kids are looking at it as sport now. And that
Mm,
kind of, it really is becoming this thing where they're not even approaching it the same way. They do their moves and then they'll go like, yeah, all right, yo, check out this footwork I did right here. And I'm like, is that how you look at it? You know,
mm,
you look at footwork as a fraction of everything, and everything else depends on the power move that you did prior to that. Your whole round depends on that. Like look at this, like check this out. Oh, boom, it's over right here. And then I did some footwork, little kick out, and bam, look at
yeah.
this move right here, blah, 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 blah. All right. Then I did like a little pretzel. Now check out this 90. And it's like that's the height of their thing. And I'm not saying none of these things are valid. And I do think that there's a space for all of this, but I don't think there's a variety anymore. Like, to me, a
Yeah.
lot of people all look the same now. They're all following the same
Hmm.
formula. And I miss having specialty dancers. I
Yeah.
miss crews where here's the footwork guy, here's our power guy, this is our transition guy, here's our freeze guy, here's our guy that we really don't know what he's doing, but we love what he's doing, right?
Right.
And he's a hoop to look at, right? I miss crews like that. I miss seeing jams like that. Now you've got these you've got these, just super crews, man.
Yeah,
Like
everyone's what
it's
well
just
rounded.
like it's not. It's I wouldn't even call it a crew. It's like a company. It's a goddamn. It's like fucking Apple on the dance floor.
Right.
Like, here comes Apple. Like damn. Like fuck. Like like all right.
Yeah, training him as
Like,
definitely.
and it's like um I'll be honest, I really don't watch it sometimes. It's not that I don't like it. It doesn't I don't see it's like a cat versus a pit bull. It really is sometimes. It's just like, why am I don't want to watch this.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
not even like this is not even entertaining to any degree. So that's why I like a lot of the top rock competitions and the footwear competitions. I like to go to those. I like more intimate jams too. I'll go to
yeah.
the bigger ones. I like going to some of the big ones. I actually do like going to freestyle session. It's just chill. What I don't like going to are cool kid jams. I hate going to the cool kid jams. I hate those.
I'm not sure what that is. What's that mean? Or
A cool kid jam, like every dope person in the world is showing up there.
mm,
Like I don't
okay,
want
okay.
to. It's the cool kid jam. I don't want to go to that. Like it's like, and you got all the fan kids in the room, and it's like, none of them stand a chance to get into any of the brackets.
Right.
You know, like I don't want to go to that. Like, I've been invited to a few, and I'll just be like, yeah, I'll let you know. I guess I'll come through. But I try to go to the ones where I know my homies are gonna be there. Like
Yeah,
the crew's gonna be there. A few heads I haven't seen in a few years. I know that they're gonna be there. I'll go, but I'm becoming more of a hermit lately. I just like painting a lot more.
for
But
sure.
and teaching, that's it. I teach a couple of little kids here and there. You know, I'm just like we were having a conversation prior to recording, but I'm just in a sharing mode. I'm just here you go.
Oh
Here you
yeah.
go. Here you go. Start doing this. Try this. This will work for you right now, but it's not going to work for you 10 years from now. It's just to
Right.
help you get started. I'm going to teach you this right now. It's not going to make sense for another 20 years.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, this is how I like to teach my kids, and some of the students. I'm like, I'm going to give you guys a game. We're going to play this game. You're not going to touch this game for another 10 years. And you're going to
Right.
touch it again 10 years later, and you're going to be like, I'm killing this game now. Like, holy
Yeah.
shit. Fuck. Okay, I get what he was trying to get me to do like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So
That's good. Brings me a thought, right? Yeah. So I was saying, like, so you said you're in a sharing mode, right? And so it's kind of great thing, like, as we get older in age, I think the greatest asset we can bring is our knowledge and our time to new generation, to kids, to give them type of value, and hopefully they use that knowledge to, you know, in a sense, to use what you have been through, right? And get better at things to evolve from the elderly of breaking, the people that's been in the game for a long time, to give them that knowledge. Because you've been in so many different competitions, you travel and battled, you won competitions, you've been to high level jams, and you made it to finals, semifinals, top eight, with against like a lot of these B boys, B girls, cats in the game that's been well known around the breakdance scene. And so with you giving the knowledge to that as we age, that's what kind of thing I'm, kind of build this as for me. As I'm getting older, the best thing we can do is just build value and inspire and build knowledge to others to see the world of the hip hop, art, and dance through your eyes, bring it to them, right? And so, um, within that, with your training, and as you said, you're teaching, are you doing any type of private classes, master classes um, within your just heat rock?
yeah, no, I do privates. Anybody who asks, I'm open to it. I'm open to doing a private. either through Zoom or through personal like meetups, anything if you live in New York or if you're passing through New York.
Okay.
I still get hired to come into these dance classes and teach their kids, like, oh, we really want you to come in and teach like some breaking and things like that. And I still do a lot of stuff. I still work with like kids, if there's a camp for the summer and they want to bring a dancer in to teach them. And I still do a lot of that stuff. I'm still in the community. I still try to help out my own personal community. And,
Yes.
um, I try to give as much knowledge as I can to the next generation. I'm not, and I always try to warn them, when people take my privates, when they're learning from me, I try to get them to remember. Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
try to get them to remember. I'm like, ask yourself, what are you trying to get out of this? Because if you think that the information that I'm going to give you is going to make you a champion, I mean, I think you're going at it the wrong way.
Yes,
This
that's
is
true.
just for you to add into your vocabulary and to expand your mind and creativity a little bit more. I'm not saying I don't teach with the promise that you are going to be an amazing B-boy or B-girl after this. I teach with the promise that you're going to be able to think quicker on the floor, that
Mm.
you'll be able to create faster on the floor and feel a lot more comfortable dancing. Now, if that person cannot get to that level, then usually 9 times out of 10, it's them stopping themselves,
Yes.
and I've had a few students that I had to walk away from, because I'm like, I can't teach you anymore. Like you've reached your ceiling or you've reached a hump that I've tried to help you get over, but you don't want to get over it. So that was your decision. You don't want to do it,
That's
so yeah.
like you're saying, that has to do a lot of mindset, kind of mental health, right? With
Mhm.
building not just your physical movements in dance, but mentally. And
Mhm.
like you're just saying, like you want to do more of lecture things, kind of stuff like that, which ties into, I back in the day when I first started, there was a lot more panels, panelists. And I took that for granted from, my local cats. I was like, why do I want to hear what you got to say when like I think I'm better breakdancer than you, but probably not because within that mindset shift, it's definitely helps within just your moves. So I think that's
Yeah.
something that's been forgotten or just hasn't
Mhm.
been trending or stuff like popularized than just going to competitions, compete, go home, or just go there and have vibe out, right? I think
Yeah.
panels should be definitely something that should be come back, I believe. And if it doesn't come back anytime soon, obviously, create it, right? Someone will create it and just kind of build that knowledge
Well,
through it.
I think the panel thing is going to be hard. You know, when this is just my opinion,
Okay, yeah.
if there was a if there's somebody who's winning, and this has come up, and somebody's like, oh, you should go and give such and such some advice, and I said, I can't give them advice. They're not going to listen to me. And they're like, well, why wouldn't they listen to me? I said, because they're winning. Why are they going to listen to me?
Mm,
They're winning. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I tell them. They're winning. Whatever they're doing right now is working. So why the fuck do I need to budget and say anything?
yeah.
And some people, I can't tell them anything. I'm not going to tell them anything. There's some people that are dancing and winning, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, you need some work on that. You need some work on that top rock, man. You need some work on your rhythm. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, I can't tell them anything. They're winning.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So why am I going to go to a panel and listen to a whole bunch of washed up B-boys and B-girls and I'm winning? Why do I need to listen to you?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah.
where I
Yeah.
find that it's going to be very difficult to get them to come to listen to these things. They're being flown all over the world right now. Why the fuck do I need to listen to you? You
Right.
get what I'm saying? Like I just
Yes.
won this, and this. Why do I want to listen to you? Because obviously what I'm doing is working. Don't matter. You know, um, you
But
know, I get what you're saying. I do. I
Yeah.
would like them to come back too, but you know, and then there's some kids that I've seen on discussion panels. They're young, and I'm like, why are they on a panel? Why is this? You know, like,
I feel you.
why are
Yeah.
you on this panel, bro? You know, like, and this is when it gets weird.
Hmm.
You know, it starts getting weird. You know, there were some panels that I saw, and there were some legends on there. You know, like Kenny was on it. You know, Storm was up there. You know, Wiggles was up there. You know, like, and then you had this one b-boy that was up there, and they were young. And so I'm like, why is that person on the panel? And then, you know, there's a question being asked, what do you think about this and this and this? And, you know, and Kenny is just giving, like, dropping, like, you know, 50 something, like 40 something years of knowledge, just dumping it. Just, you know, what they weren't even gems at this point. It was just huge diamonds. Like, he's just dropping gold, like, you know, and there's a hole in the bag, and it is like he's just telling you, and then Wiggles is just, you know, he's going off and he's telling all these amazing stories and these things. And then you get to this young cat, and then it's like, yeah, man, you know, just do your thing and just love it and just have fun. It's just like, that is the most simplistic answer you could possibly give. And I'm just like, this is how you get, you know, not saying that person doesn't deserve to be up there, but it's like you can see the huge contrast.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe
You
he
know,
should. It could have been worded differently. You know, in certain
it's
ways.
I don't think he's found the way to articulate what has happened to them in their life and how to tell this person it's not all peaches and cream, but here's this piece of knowledge. Here's this
Yeah.
for you, you know, for your particular situation, yours specifically. I suggest this for you. I can't throw a blanket statement over it and just say, everybody, it's because you're not having fun. That's why you're not successful. No, that's fucked up. That's wrong.
Right. Right.
You're not successful because you smoke way too much fucking weed. You're
Mhm.
not successful because you won't change your wardrobe. Your shoes have holes in them. You can't get the leverage that you need. That's why your shit is sloppy. You won't practice enough. You have too much anxiety. You need to start handling it. You need to tackle it. You keep trying to do power. That's not your fucking strong suit, bro. Your strong suit is this, and you should explore it more. You know, and you know, this is why, yes, we should have panels, but if we're going to have a panel, we need to have the people on it that are going to be able to tell each individual what is your specific problem, like, and be able to tell all of them
Mhm.
there's a slew of problems of why some of you are not getting to the point that you want to get at with this, and also be able to tell these people, hey, winning isn't everything. Some of you might need to go on tour with Madonna. Some of you
Right.
should probably be doing movies. Some of you are not good at dancing, period. Maybe you're better at recording it. Maybe you're better at doing podcasts. Maybe
Yeah.
you're better at da 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 da. You can always have a love and a passion for it, but you just need to know what you're good at. And
Yeah.
this is the problem with I feel like is the problem with the scene, because it's not nurturing to a lot of other skills. Lately, it's just pushing this, you need to be really good like this skill. It's just been pushing
Hmm.
that. And it's like,
Right.
nah, bro, you're a good speaker. Why don't you become a host? Nah, bro, you're good at organizing. Maybe you should throw some jams.
Yeah.
Nah, bro, you're really good at da 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 da. You should be doing this. And they don't tell people that because everybody's like, I got to get the trophy. I got to get the trophy. It's like, nah, bro, you might be good at some other shit.
For real. Yeah. I like how you said that because I could relate a lot to that. And you said in the real, right? Like, yeah, you might be good at hosting, at talking to being a host, or you might be better at DJing, or promoting things, different things, and that what brings in events and jams, right? Not just within just your dance moves, but the love for the scene and growing it into a different perspective, within the scene. And so I like how you say that and seen it, because I think a lot of people miss that type of factor within it. They, a lot of people I think believe that this is, my point of view, right? Go to the jams. Okay, I didn't make top 8 or top 16. I'm leaving, or they just there to attend the jam and just kind of have fun with the jam cipher and in the jam, right? But maybe that person recording over there, it's actually really recording trailer videos or editing videos, right? And just stuff like that. And that's the type of stuff we see today, even social media and stuff like that, trailers and videos. And that's still part of breaking in content, right? But it's just that certain niche of that field. And do you say that, is he a poser or something else, but he loves the scene, right? Maybe he was a breaker in the past, but he just has love for that scene because he used to break, but he wants to be involved in a different way. Like, how would you factor, that doesn't really factor it out, but like what you just said, it is definitely a
I mean,
different
there's a
perspective
difference
than
between there's posers, there's culture vultures, there's all these types of things that happen,
what's
right? With these
culture.
types
Hold on, what's culture vulture?
of culture. You never heard this one.
No.
Who's the first person? Alien Ness was one of the first people that I heard say this.
Okay.
Culture vulture. Well, you know what a vulture is, right?
Yeah, they kind of just like, go
The
and
bird, right?
steal
Yeah,
your
they
stuff or
pick
something.
out the
Or
dead and they feed off
yeah,
of
yeah.
other things, right? And when we call somebody a vulture, it's like they're eating off of you or they're stealing something from you. They call it a vulture.
Ah.
So a culture vulture would be somebody who really knows nothing about what we do, but they're marketing off of us in some kind of way, right?
Yes.
So it's just
Yes.
like, oh, well, I'm going to look the part, but I don't really want to play the part, like,
Yeah.
but what I would say is there are some people around, and I don't think you're never gonna live that down when people start like, well, he never really was killing it back then, but now he's got a fucking camera and this and that. But you're never gonna live that down. But nonetheless, you're a part of the scene. And some of these people are talking shit like, for example, you've got B-Boy Network, you've got Yak, you've got Stance, Strife was a thing back in the day,
Right. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you got all these guys that are carrying these cameras around and doing these things, right? Motherfuckers is gonna talk shit about them all motherfucking day, but at the end of the day, half those dudes owe their entire career to these guys.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the stance guys, they don't da 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 da, but yet they're posting you, and the stance is the reason why anybody even fucking knows your fucking name. Because prior to that, you was lunch for everybody because your ass wasn't that fucking good. And you had that one clip that came out on Stance that went viral, and now all of a sudden, you're getting flown all over the world. And who do you owe it to? The dudes you was calling square. The dudes you was calling them corny,
Right.
right? This guy, he's doing these interviews with his books and his tech and thing in the background. The dude was corny. He's always been off and on and da 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 da. Then you do, then
Yeah.
you do an interview, and then the fucking interview blows up, and then yo, you owe your whole fucking career to this guy. Did nobody know who the fuck you was until you did that damn interview?
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing with like I see this with a lot of like some of the dancers out there. Did nobody know who the fuck some of these B-boys and B-girls were until they started hanging out with certain dudes or dating certain guys or whatever, or like, started hanging out with certain girls. Didn't nobody know who the fuck they were. And then all of a sudden now they're blown up. And I'm like, yo, you owe your whole career to this person. Didn't nobody know who you
Yeah.
was prior to this. Oh no, they've been famous. No, the fuck they wasn't. No, we didn't know who they were. Nobody knew who that person was. And I don't give a shit. Like, tell you the truth, like Stance helped get me where I'm at today. If it wasn't for fucking Stance and B-Boy Network being another one too, I'm dead ass. Didn't like people knew who I was. People knew that I had foot, but when I did that Massive Monkey shit, it was a rap after that. It was a rap
battle,
after
right?
that. Yeah, the Massive Monkey battle. Like after that, it was a rap.
Yeah, was it you and Session at the end?
No, not Zeshin.
Oh no. Oh.
It was 2016. It was the one.
Oh shit. Okay, I don't know.
Flip. Yeah, it was the round heard around world footwork battle. It was me versus Brett and what's this guy's name? Ark. It was a 3-way tie.
Okay.
It was Massive Monkey Day and
Ark from 808 Breakers.
Yes, Ark, the homie.
As well.
And Brett's the homie as well too.
Okay.
He's got his the electric car thing that he does racing, which is really cool. So check that stuff out, man. That's another weird thing where you got like these b-boys that have these other extra talents that are things that they're into and no one knows about that shit. But we're doing this 3-way battle. We do this round, and technically Ark won. I'm putting that on the record. Ark technically won because it was a footwork battle, and technically he did footwork. Technically, my round was not 100% footwork. It just was memorable, and I won. And so I won that tiebreaker, but I ended up losing that whole jam. But I got that slot that year. And that year was a very important year. And this is my opinion. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That goddamn Massive Monkey footwork battle is one of the hardest fucking footwork battles to get into. It's harder to get into the bracket than it is to win it. Like it's really like some backward shit. Like it's harder to get selected than it is. Once you're in the 8, it's like, all right, anyone can win. Once you're in
not 16.
No, they don't do 16. They only do 8.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and that particular year, they had flown in 4 champions already that were already in the bracket, and they were only taking 4 people. And that year, it was like 200, 300 plus entries. Like,
damn.
The chances of you getting into that were slim. It was really slim. And they took 4 people. I forgot who the other 3 they took, but they couldn't decide between me, Ark, and Brett. And we had to do that 3-way tie. Anyway, Stance records that fucking round and puts that round up. And I was already on the map because I was doing all those Top Rock battles and I was losing to Samo, and Samo was blowing up at the time. And so because they were searching Samo, I was always runner-up because I kept losing to him specifically. And it wasn't like I was in the finals, it was top 8, and everybody was searching Samo at the time. So that's what put me on the map. And then about a year or 2 of that bullshit going on with Samo. Fuck you, Samo. Shout out to Samo. And me constantly losing to him. I lost to Why Not about a year later at a competition called BAM. And at the time, I wasn't really acquainted with Why Not. I knew who he was, and he knew who I was, but we battled each other, and I lost to him. And, in my head, I was like, that is the worst battle I've ever had to endure in my life. The video comes out, 60K views within like a couple of days. Yeah. Wow. And that got the ball rolling. And then once the Massive Monkey clip came out, it was a wrap. But my point is, the whole thing about knocking these dudes with the cameras and everything like that, they're never going to live that shit down. There's, you've got these levels of, authenticity, right? There's the hardcore heads way at this, it's like a totem pole of like authenticity, right? You've got these hardcore cats that only interview specific people, that only rock a certain way, that only hang out in certain areas and only talk. You've got those dudes, and then you've got these more flexible guys, and then you've got these dudes that are just not hardcore in any kind of way. They're passerbyers, they're in and out, They know nothing about the culture. They don't know any history. You know, you've got those guys, right? And then you've got
Hmm.
these culture vultures, and I think that there's degrees to it. But then there's a level of me where I said, I'm letting go of this. The only time I get
Yeah.
upset about it is when I feel like there's abuse going on.
Mm.
You know, I can look and say, well, he's a corny dude. So what? He's a corny dude. He's not really into it the way that we're into it. So what? But he doesn't go around acting like he's something that he's not. He doesn't
Yeah.
go
Right.
around,
Right.
or she doesn't go around claiming shit that doesn't exist for them. You get what I'm saying? So for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah. Definitely.
I can leave that person alone because I'm like, well, at least you're staying real to who you are, and you can admit safely, like, no, I'm not really big into this. You know, it's the ones that, you know, that you hear about, you know, that they grew up with a swimming pool, and they grew up with a good family in a good neighborhood. And now all of a sudden they're covered in tattoos and talking about some, yeah, this is hip hop and this. And I'm like, you didn't grow up like that, bro. Like, you know, you've lost yourself. And, you know, as long, the stance guys ain't never did that. You know, I talk to those guys all the
Yeah.
time, and that never switched up on me. I've never seen them behave outside of what I've always known about them, you
Yeah.
know, and I can respect and love that about them. You know, we're not super tight. I just know, I say, what's up? We have a couple conversations. I see that they're doing their work. I don't bother them. You know, we'll crack a couple of jokes. We'll catch up. You know, we share a couple of things through like online, you know, and if I feel like something is out of line with what they've done, you
Hmm.
know, I don't have a problem with vocalizing that to them. You know,
Oh.
even if it makes it awkward between us, I'm just like, hey, you know, you wrote this, and I think that's a little dangerous to write. You
Mm.
know, um, usually it's racial things, you know, and they're not racist. Let me just be clear.
Right.
It's just some historical things that may not be aligned with my beliefs. You know, it's their platform. I can't tell them what to do with it, you know, but I do owe a lot of my career to them. And I'll never take that away from any of these guys that are recording and doing these things, you know. That if they're not recording it, who will?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
there's a lot of like dudes that are like these hardcore guys that are, oh, yeah, they shouldn't, we should be doing it. Then you do it. You said earlier, if it doesn't exist, invent it.
Hmm. Yeah.
You
100%.
know, go
Like,
create it. But a lot of these dudes will sit and complain and talk shit, and and do all these things, but they're not doing anything about it.
yeah.
Or their platform, they're so closed-minded on their platform, they don't realize that their closed-mindedness is what's keeping their platform from blowing up, from
Mm.
becoming the major one, or the major source that everybody is going to. That's
Yeah.
why your thing is because you're closed-minded, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You know, what you just said right there, I can resonate a lot to that, right? What makes me the person to do a podcast? What makes me the person to interview people? I'm sure there's a lot of qualified people that could do, better than I can, that knows more of the history than I do, as, straight up, I'm not gonna lie. When I was breaking, I've been dancing for 17 years. As like the first decade of my dancing, like I only connected with the local community. And like the
Mhm.
last 7 years, I was like, I saw some stuff, obviously Red Bull, some of the professional stuff. But, as this year and the year previous before, like I really want to get in depth with the culture, the community of people, not just my local town, but like in the world, right? Because there's so much knowledge out there that to connect with others. And I'm learning on the process as I'm doing this. Like you never heard of me. I DM'd you randomly and you were down to do a podcast. I was like, oh yeah, and I'm learning more about you. And as I'm talking to you, I really enjoy talking to you, and a lot of the knowledge you drop, I think it's really valuable and knowledgeable from your experiences. And I'm learning a lot through me, and I want the viewers to learn a lot as well as too. And as the qualification for me to be the one to do this, yeah, I might not be the qualified,
Mhm.
but am I willing to do it? Yes. I want to learn this. I want to learn from other people and evolve through that way as well as through my mindset and knowledge, right? And so,
Mhm.
because I've been closed mind within my city, and how do I evolve and exploit it to others and myself that, hey, there's a possibility that people could blow up out of the scene of Portland, Oregon, that, could be a well-known breaker. There's a lot of B-boys that I seen that fell off that could have been really dope, but they just didn't stick around to do it. And
Mhm.
so that kind of reminiscent of the concept of this and myself to grow and build others and myself. And so no, that's freaking dope. Like
Mhm.
this, me talking to you right now, even
Mhm.
though it's, not in person, it's through Zoom,
Mhm.
very valuable. And I appreciate you taking the time and the blessing to be on here, because I think you dropped a lot of golden nuggets and real deep conversation of things. Because, I feel like you're saying, culture vulture, imposter syndrome. I feel that all the
Mhm.
time. And I'm like, I've been doing this in the scene for a while. I want jams, I throw in jams. I judge jams here in Portland, right? In Oregon,
Mhm.
but not in different areas. So no one really knows who I am. And so I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
not here just to be a promoter or culture vulture things. I love the scene, but I want to connect with the people that are still in the scene that I enjoy watching. And hopefully we could network and through that way somehow.
Yeah.
So that's for me going to competitions now, just to get my name out there and connect with other people, meet and greet uh, the people that I seen on videos as well. But that's my reminiscence of things that.
Yeah.
So uh, yeah, that's a little bit about me, man. So let's move it on back to you. Um, how you said that stance or videos help you path your career. When you
Mhm.
said that, what type of career are you looking at within the art form of dance? Because I know that there's different methods
Mhm.
of making a living. Obviously, you can win every jam to get some, the grand prize. But upon that, there's
Yeah.
also what, teaching, performances, uh, you know,
Actually, it comes a level of learning how to. I'm glad you asked this question. Actually, it's been something that I've been talking about with a few of the younger cats or cats that are around my age, because we're all reaching that point and we're like, we're getting old. So, um, you could either A, get a 9 to 5, which that would kill me because I can't stand working. I love dancing and I love making art. So you have to learn how to diversify. And what I mean by diversifying is you need to understand all of the different angles that you can use with dance. And you have to also think creatively. A lot of people think competitively, and you can't keep thinking like that. You have to eventually think creatively. So all of these dudes that are talking shit about, oh, they're not breaking, they're recording now. These guys, I'm like, you're going to be there at one point. And you got to be careful about what you talk shit about, because you're digging yourself a hole. Because when you get to the point where you need to think of something else, guess what you were talking shit about the entire time? And then now you're going to look stupid doing the thing that you were talking so much shit about. So you have to learn how to diversify. You have to learn that there's if your knees are going to blow out eventually. That shoulder is not going to, you're not going to be able to do those standing air flare halos that much anymore. Your
right.
footwork ain't going to be that fast, in a few more years. So You got to start thinking about teaching, workshop, lectures, judging. You got to start working on those skills. That's one thing, but even that only makes so much money. Then you need to be able to market yourself very well. Then you also need to know your value. And if you don't know
That's
your
important.
value,
Yes.
you are not going to make the money that you should be making because you don't know your value. So if your one B-boy was ranting online and he was complaining, it was like, this is broke. And I go halfway across the world for $300. And I turned my head, I said, motherfucker, what? And I said, you still taking $300 gigs? Like, what are you doing? You're B-boy
Right.
so-and-so. You're on billboards. You're on flyers. You're like the face of Breakin. Why are you still doing things for $300? Right now, technically, your price should be almost like two G's flat.
Right. I don't know.
That's just for you to walk in the room and say hi.
Right.
Like that should be a given. You also need to learn how to start saying no. Start saying no to gigs. Hey, Heat Rock, we want you to come out. Our budget is 400 and we'll pay for your flight, but you got to take care of your hotel. No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. You can't afford it. Oh, you're too expensive. Excuse me. That's not hip hop. Nah, bro, you can't afford me.
Yeah.
Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all cats now and money. You're not supposed to be making money off of it, bro. I do this all day, every day. How you think I'm gonna feed myself, bro?
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
there's some shit. There's a lot of dumb ideas that you have to let go. It's just like what they tell you in therapy. There's a lot you have to reparent yourself eventually in hip hop. You have to reparent yourself. There's a lot of things that we learn as kids, and we have to unlearn a lot of that shit and reteach ourselves certain things as adults. Okay, this idea of don't do this because it's unauthentic to the culture and this, I get that, but then how do I pay my bills?
Right.
Answer that question. You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that sometimes, as long as you're not selling out, you're good. Okay. And selling out means different things to everybody. Okay. But you have to learn how to diversify. And what I mean by diversify, you need to think, how can I make money within the thing that I love in different ways? Okay. I told you I want to get into these lectures more. I want to get more lectures. I can make money off the lectures. Okay. Look at Fables. He gives lectures to colleges all the time. Look at KRS-One. He's giving lectures to colleges all the time. Do you know how much those dudes get paid to speak for 1 hour?
I don't
Okay.
know.
That's, if you're a good speaker, that's almost an automatic 50K.
Wow.
On a low end, the low end, $5,000 for an hour.
So let's break it down. So you're getting paid to public speak. Paid to speak.
Yeah, that's one thing you can get paid to speak, public speaking.
Yeah.
Talk about your experience. Start write a book.
Yeah.
Start reaching out to all of these different. So I'm on a residency right now. The young lady who organized this residency, her name is Miley. I dance with her for Leia Rhythm. She's the one who created Leia Rhythm. She's a house dancer. I was hanging out with her and she was like, oh, I'm trying to get these grants and I'm trying to find this money. She's like, do you know how much money is floating around in the grant world? And I said, what the fuck are you talking about? And as an artist, I had to start filling out for grants. And I had to fill out for some grants for some dance stuff. And the amount of grants that I found that were doing what I was doing and the amount of money that they were giving to people, if you're just Black or Asian and can break dance, there's money out there. And we're all sitting here breaking our necks to fucking win these competitions. And I said, did you know that there's a whole bunch of fucking grant money that's out here that they're just giving away? All you got to do is fill out the fucking form. You may not get selected, but if you do one grant, you've done 1,000 because all you have to do is save it and copy and paste.
Damn.
You learn how to do that shit. I made a little bit of money through grants already.
Okay.
And there's all these cats out here, how you can't survive off of it. And it's like, no, you just didn't know about this.
Yeah.
If you can read and you can write, you good, homie. There's grant money out there. That's another thing. Also, too, I'm a visual artist. That's another thing I could say. Pick up another fucking skill. Like,
Yep.
stop with the like, oh, I'm gonna look stupid all over again and not get you. Pick up another fucking skill. Cause it's like a lot of these dudes are like, they're like fucking football jocks, man. All they do is break all goddamn day and they don't do nothing else. And then once your knee blows out, what the fuck you gonna do?
Right.
What do you
Right.
do? Like, and I'm not gonna do. You need a fallback. No, that's not what I'm saying. Get another skill. The young lady that I'm here with, she's a bass player. Her name's Ksenia. Amazing bass player. Amazing bass player. She's learning how to code now.
Nice.
And so as she's coding, she's like, I'm super excited. And she's like, you know, I was talking. I said it'd be funky if you can find a way to tie this into your music. And she was like, yeah, she's like, it'd just be, she could invent a program for music or something like that that hasn't been invented before because she's a first-hand musician. She knows all the stuff. Like, this is the way that a lot of these kids are not thinking. They're not thinking, you know, and it's like, I got to win Red Bull. I got to win Undisputed. I got to win Battle of the Year. I got to da-da-da-da. Yes, go win that, prove that point, get that goal for yourself. But once you reach that thing, there's a ceiling to this. We're not all Box Right. We're not all Vicious Victor. Not all of us are going to be those guys. Like, there's more, there's less of them and more of us. So do the math. You need to figure something out. So you got to diversify. That's what I started doing. I looked at my dance style and I looked at what those guys were doing. You know, when I talk, me and Vicious Victor, we actually were having a conversation last I saw him. And he was talking about a falling out that he had with someone. And there was something that this person had said that just blew my mind that came out of this person's mouth that they said this to Vicious Victor. And I said, they don't understand the level of training that you do in order for you to be who you are, Victor. And Victor was like, I know. I tried to tell them. I said, I don't even train the way you train and think about it the same way, but I still train on another level in order for me to be where I'm at. And when you don't have that concept grasped, you're not going to make it. You're just not. It's like you can't beat Vicious Victor if you don't even remotely know how that guy trains. I've seen him teach a workshop and the things he had these kids doing. I said, I don't do that. I don't train like that.
Yeah.
I don't practice like that. I practice a little bit different and it's still successful. But if I wanted Red Bull BC1 status, I need to train like him. But then guess what that does? It changes the way that I rock. It changes the whole way that I think about the dance, you know? And a lot of these kids don't really understand the level of work that goes in to actually becoming who you are. They just see the last result and then they have an opinion about it.
Right.
You know, so in order for you to grow and stay in the scene and stay in the culture, do exactly what you're doing. You're starting this new podcast, and who knows, maybe it'll blow up. Maybe HBO will come to you and say, hey, we saw this and we like it.
Right.
And because you've done this, now you're bridging the gap between mainstream television and our culture. And now you're the face of getting people to interview, you know, to talk, to see interviews for dancers. You never know if that's going to happen, but you can't get there with this closed-minded way of approaching things. You just really can't. It's just like, you know, and so there's a level of authenticity that some people want to keep. And I respect those guys. And they're still successful because they're like, no, this is really damaging to the culture, so I can't do that. And other people who are a little bit loose, let them do what they want to do. That's what they do. The culture is always going to be here no matter what. Right. I don't give a shit if you blow up and you start selling out. We're still going to be here. It doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
that's where I think a lot of times people get all bent out of shape. I was like, bro, it don't matter. We're still going to be here. They're just mad because he's making money off of it. So what? But we're still here. We're still going to be here. We just don't fuck with him,
Right.
you know? So these are just like, for me, diversify. Learn how to take your skill outside of the dance floor. What else can you do with this skill? What else can you do? You can share it to the world. How do I share it to the world? How do I get kids involved? How do I get my community involved? Let me look into this grant thing Heat Rock was talking about. Shit, there's billions of dollars out here. This will cover what I need to start my podcast.
Right.
Fuck. Let me just get one of these fucking shit. I won a grant. I won 80,000. What now? Look at what I can do with this 80,000. My business is now going to grow. And a lot of people don't know that. And it's not even money that you don't gotta pay that money back. It's free money. Boom. Here you go. Right there. And you're not breaking your neck, you know, but that also too, you have to be professional. There's a level of professionalism that you need to have. You can't go write a grant saying you need 80,000 for your business. And then you took that 80,000 and went and bought a house, went and bought some rims.
Right.
You can't do that. You need to be a professional. You can't take the money and run. You can't do shit like that, you know, because now look, we can't trust you.
Yeah.
A lot of these dudes, oh, they hating. Like, well, what about that 50 grand you ran off with last year?
Yeah.
You know, you threw the jam. You said you was going to give the money to the victims and you took the money and ran. Like, we ain't going to trust you. So don't talk about how your business is not taking off and everybody's hating. We can't even trust you with the money. You know, that's another thing. Like, you got to stop doing dumb shit.
Hell yeah. Bro,
Stop
this
doing
is
dumb
real
shit.
shit. Hell yeah. I love it.
Stop doing dumb shit. Like, you're doing dumb shit. You want to
Yep.
blow up, you
Yep.
want to go places, you want to do this thing, you've got this dream, and then you get the opportunity and you blow it. Oh,
Yeah.
you didn't know my situation. I needed that money to da 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 and this and that. All right, cool. But you
What?
knew. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I'm
Uh
just saying.
yeah. No, I 100% feel you. Like,
Yeah,
what other diversity perspective can you use your knowledge within the breakdance or dance skills you have into something else?
yeah,
What I use, I use a lot of the basics and fundamentals when I was learning breaking. I apply that a lot to other things, a job. This last year I got my real estate license, right? And I apply a lot of that basic knowledge to that. I gotta
mhm,
learn the basics, I gotta learn fundamentals if I want to evolve and learn this stuff,
yeah,
and that applies with anything else. And that relates to me learning breakdance,
yeah,
right? Breakdancing. From using that perspective, I was like, yeah, I use that perspective into everything. Take your time,
yeah.
learn this, learn the fundamentals. Why does it do this? You can't move unless you learn this, or, stuff like that. And
No,
it
yeah.
just turns
Like,
into a lifestyle, right? So,
yeah. No, you're right about that. I think that's just life experience too. Like everything that you've learned in life, you apply it to your business. You apply it to what you're going to do. And it's the same thing. I applied what I learned from popping. I applied that to breaking. The way that I train, I apply that to how I think about the process, enjoying the process of things, right? No one likes sitting on top of their head for like 20 minutes trying to fucking, you know,
right,
and no one likes that shit. Your neck is cramping. The top of your head is sore and tender now. Nobody likes doing that shit. It's
right,
the end.
right,
It's the end result that we're all excited about, right? I don't enjoy drawing straight lines so I can get straight. I enjoy the fact that I know that one day I'll be able to draw a straight fucking line because I'm practicing on it so much. The process sucks, but I'm
yeah,
enjoying the process because I know I'm going to have a good result. And I learned that from breaking, and I learned that from just dance in general. The more you work on it, eventually you'll get a result, and you'll get there. But still, you got to keep your ear to the ground for any advice, but not all advice is good advice,
right.
you know. And actually, like I was listening to an interview of Eddie Murphy, and
Okay.
he was
Hell yeah.
he was doing his stand up when he was young at a nightclub, and at the time Rodney Dangerfield was he was hot shit at the time. So the
Hmm.
nightclub owner heard that Rodney was in the building and was he pushed all the other comedians to the side to get Rodney to do his performance. You know, Rodney did his thing, you know, I get no respect, and you know, like everybody loved it. And then Eddie says he goes on, he's young, and Eddie was young at the time. So he was like, motherfucker, shit, pussies, dicks, da 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 da, motherfucking this and that. And he says, you know, he's done with his set and he's in the bathroom. No, he's backstage and he's talking to Rodney, and Rodney's like, I don't know, kid. I don't know about all of the bleeping and the blopping and the da 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 da. I don't know, kid. You might want to, you know, you might want to tone that down and change it, you know? A couple of years later, Eddie Murphy's the hottest actor in Hollywood at the time
Mm,
as he's in a
yeah.
bathroom. He's in a bathroom, and who should walk in? Rodney Dangerfield. And he saw Rodney Dangerfield, and he said, and Rodney Dangerfield said to him, "Hey, who knew?" You know. And so, you know, Eddie was saying, not all advice is good advice.
Yeah.
You know, not everything that people tells you is the best advice. Like, you know, when I'm breaking, everybody's in my ear. You should do this. You need to do this. You need to, you know what you should do, you know? And I was just like, nah, I'm good. And,
Right.
you know, my homie Step Two in my crew, Johan, amazing dancer and amazing like teacher. You know, when I was practicing with him, you know, I would do a move and he'd be like, all right, now do it backwards with your eyes closed in reverse, upside down. That's how he was. He gave me the idea of conceptualizing everything and changing the
Mm,
ideas, and it helped me think to a whole other level when it came to breaking. And then when he would tell me these things, I would go, duh, I know this because I did it in popping. I can just take that same thing. But when he said it in his words, he really helped me get to another level when it came to the dance. So these are some
yeah.
things too. Just know, gravitate towards the people that you know are going to be able to help you with your concepts, not help you get to the top, but
Right.
your art, I don't care if it's your podcast or whatever, you still need to be hanging around other podcast guys who are successful. You need
Yes.
to,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're going to give you the stuff that they're going to give you the shit that you need. I need to be hanging around other painters. I need to be hanging around other dancers who are as good as me or better,
Right.
you know. And that was the
Yes.
way I thought. So a lot of times I would hang around people that were either on my level or better, because it was going to push me to do better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that one, cliche saying, it's like, hey, hang out with the four people that who you want to be. And then, you're gonna be the fifth person, right?
Yeah.
Of that group or whatever you trying to pursue. So yeah, I definitely believe that for sure. Cause that definitely resonate with, I think, not just me, but everybody to take accountable of that and of themselves, of they surround themselves with.
Yeah.
Nice, damn man, bro.
Yeah.
This is so dope to have you on, like, um, talking to you here on the cast, and I feel like I'm getting a lot of perspective and knowledge through you, not only just about breaking, but as a life, like mentorship of, like, through that, right? As a lifestyle, because I think you drop a lot of knowledge and gems, that perspective that people should see or hear and listen to and take that as accountable to bring it within them, to evolve their knowledge, evolve their mindsets, be open-minded to the possibilities out there. And like I was saying, I felt like I was unqualified. I mean, I'm not qualified to do this. What makes me qualified is doing the work, right? And so, okay, I'm willing to do it, sure. And therefore, uh for the next question I have, what do your thoughts on breakdancing going to the Olympics?
I knew this was coming.
You knew that was
Um,
coming.
I knew this. Everybody's been asking me this.
Your
Uh,
2 cents. I don't know. It doesn't have
one,
to be, brief, just something
well,
brief.
don't knock it till you try it.
Okay.
And I tried it, and I don't like it.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of it, but it is another platform, and that's why I'm okay with it. It's
Yeah.
another platform. That's all it is. It's just going to be another platform, but there's a side of me that's a little happy for it because it will give a home to certain dancers, certain breakers. And the way
Yeah.
that they break, the Olympics will be their home because the way that they break fits that narrative. It's like, and there's a lot of talk about it's gonna be authentic. We're controlling it. We're this and that. The reason why I don't believe it is because what's her name? She's a tennis player, Billie Jean.
Oh, I, I-
You know
I'm
what I'm
not too
talking.
familiar. I only know like,
She
the
she's
Williams
older.
twins and or the
No, no,
sisters. I
no,
mean,
no, no, no. She's much older, white woman. Her name is
okay.
Billie Jean.
Okay.
So, talking about experiencing things in your life, I'm coming back from Japan. I was out there for a month. I was teaching some workshops. I had just left Wing Zero's house, and I get on the flight, and I'm headed back to the States, and I have to stop into Hawaii, and then from Hawaii to Cali. And I get on the flight, and I'm in first class, and I sit down, and this white woman sits down next to me, older white woman, and we just get the chatting because I was looking at some footage on my phone. And
Okay.
she looks over and she's like, wow, that's really cool. What is that? Or who is that? I said, well, that's me. And this is what I do. And, and then she's like, wow, and stuff like that. And I mentioned to her, I said, yeah, there's talk about it going to the Olympics. This is back in like 2000, like 16 or 17,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
This is maybe even 15 or something like that. And come to find out, it's Billie Jean. And she's like, do you know
Ah.
who I am? And I said, I don't know who you are. And then she shows me who she is. I'm like, now I know who you are. She's like, yeah, I helped tennis get into the Olympics, and I helped some of these leagues and the women's leagues. And, I'm an advocate for women's sports and this and that. And, and we get the talking. And then she's like, so breaking's going to the Olympics. I said, yeah. She's like, do you have a union? Is there a dance union? And I
Hmm.
said, no, there is no dance union. And she said, until you get a dance union, your committee is not going to be able to hold it together. You are going to get fucked royally. And she was telling me, she's like, the Olympics will fuck you, and they will try to fuck you as much as they possibly can until you get a union. So in
Oh,
my head, once this woman told me this, now when I look at it, that's what I believe.
okay.
I think that it's going to be fun and cool, but because we don't have a union, we don't stand together and we don't stand strong.
Hmm.
And a lot of people are just like, well, if you don't respect us, we're just going to pull out. It doesn't matter. You pull out, they'll just replace you
Right. Yep.
because we don't have a union. And the union means we're united. It means that we all think on the same level. You see that in TV gigs. You go and do the spot and they're trying to pay you 600 and you're like, "No, I'm good." They're going to get somebody who they can pay for less.
Right. Right.
They're going to get somebody. So for me, these are some of the reasons why I don't knock anybody who works for the Olympics. I'm not mad at them. This is just my own thing. Like, and
Hmm.
so I tried out for it. I did. I tried. I said, well, let me give it a shot. Like, this could be something cool. But once the judging started happening, and then when I started seeing the point system, and then I started seeing how things were racking up, and then when I started seeing the things that were going on, I said, this isn't for me.
Okay.
Not for me. This is for them. They can go do that. Congratulations to you. Good luck. I'm not knocking it. But these are Kenny's words, Ken Swift's words. He's like, I'm an athlete, and sports are for athletes. And he said, I'm an athlete. I play ball. He said, but I play ball. He said, I've never played breaking a day in my life.
Mm,
And so those words coming out of his mouth, it gave me a way to vocalize it too. And I'm like, yeah, I don't play breaking. It's not something you play. It's just something you do. You
yeah.
know, it's a way of expressing yourself. If you want to be called an athlete, go for it. But I do think that there needs to be a moment of normalizing the idea that there is some athleticism to what we do. I would not call us athletes, but we are athletic. I
Right.
still look at it as an art form. So it shocks me when certain dancers that um, talk about hip hop and b-boying all the time and say things like, oh, you still look at it as an art form. And I'm like, what the fuck are you looking at it as? Like, like what's going on upstairs, bro? And
Hmm.
people have changed, and these are just my opinion. I support it in the sense that it is another platform, and congratulations to creating that new platform. Do I support
Yes.
it 100% as encouraging people to go towards it? No, not really. It's gonna be what it is, but um, I think we lose a lot of authenticity when we
Yeah.
enter so it's super organized. And when you don't have a union, there's nothing stopping them from codifying it more and more. And once it becomes codified, they're
Yeah.
not going to be us.
They're gonna.
People keep saying it will never be that way. I'm like, you say that, but the more it becomes codified, the more you are unneeded. Because now they're not going to hire B-boys. They just hire somebody who knows what they're looking at. And that
Mm,
person is a culture vulture. They have nothing to do with the culture. They just know the
right.
rules because now they've written the rules down. And this is what breaking looks like. They've
That
got to.
relates a lot to what I'm doing here as another piece of podcast, right? Because what I see down the road, once that actually goes live, and I believe that breaking would
Mhm,
be trending for, that year, probably
mhm,
the next, let's just say gets hot for like the next 2, 3 years. And
mhm,
there's gonna be a lot of people that will jump into as
mhm,
like podcast interviews, obviously, right? As
mhm,
culture vultures,
mhm,
or companies that want to know the mindset of these athletes or artists of people that's been in the Olympics, right? Such as the Wizard and Gravity, the
mhm,
Jeff Road, right, and stuff like those type of guys that because they're in it. So what I see a lot of those jumping in evolve down the road.
mhm,
Um, and so that's what I see down the road. And for me to establish this type of thing is just another piece. I'm like, oh, okay, I definitely need to jump in this harder and figure it out. But establishing now is not till October. So I mean, I think I have time, but I don't know. But
mhm,
that's what I see down the road. And it's gonna be more involved in trending at the time. And definitely in the try to be in the forefront where um I keep doing this as mentioned, off screen that I have a whole plan with evolve through this, but it takes definitely the daily's achievements to keep growing it. And so um yeah, there's a lot of things within the Olympics. I think it's good too to open doors for dancers or break dancers to have opportunities for parents and other things to look at more seriously. Because when I was growing up, my parents were like, "Oh yeah, this is a hobby. This is for fun, right?" It wasn't really
mhm,
serious. So I think that
mhm,
does help open doors to be like, okay, maybe you should take breakdancing seriously. But as you're saying, as time goes, they might knock a few things that loses the culture feel, the art form. So,
mhm.
um, but only time can tell throughout that time for sure.
No, no, you're right about all that. No, there will be some trickle down. I do believe. I do believe that we'll see a huge influx of newer people. But with that said, you got to understand what type of people are going to be pouring in now. and why they want to learn breaking, and breaking is going to be so cool again. I want my kid in a breaking class now because there's just an Olympic sport and he's going to win, like, and then it
Yeah.
becomes this thing like we're profiting off of it too, because now we're like, oh, I'm teaching, I've got more customers, like
Mm,
this is great. But then it's like, what type of customer are we teaching now?
yes.
I don't think a lot of people are thinking about that. There's hardly any brown and black kids that are learning how to break now. It's mostly Asian and white kids. And, a lot of people don't really they don't look at the why, and the why is basically black and brown people can't afford it.
Mm,
When I teach these classes, most of the students are white and Asian. The privates, they're white kids because their parents can afford it. You
yeah.
know, the black kids and the brown kids that come through, they come through the practice because it's free, and they learn they learn the more traditional way just by hanging around it. But then you've got these kids that can afford it. So if now breaking is becoming popular again, who's going to be your number one customer?
Mm,
Bunch of kids that can afford it, bunch of spoiled brats. They don't have the same political views, you know and then these are the people you're teaching. And then, so what is our culture going to look like after that happens now?
right.
If you thought it was a problem then, look at what it's going to be like now. And then there's going to be a huge change. And you're like, where the fuck are who are these kids? Why aren't they doing this? Why are they doing this now? Why all of a sudden is this happening? It's changed. And then
Yeah.
now you're going to be like, I don't even want to do fucking interviews anymore. This shit has changed. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of the guys that I came into the scene with, when I came into the scene and they were coming up, they're not battling anymore. I said, why aren't you? And it's just not the same.
Mm,
All the faces that I saw when I was coming up, half those guys are gone. More than half of them are gone. you know. And some of the guys that are around my age, they're like, all right, man, I'm gonna make my comeback. Yo, let's just get down for fun. Like, it changes, and the next generation is gonna see their shift and stuff too. They're gonna be like, it's different now. It was like, it's more different than what we thought was different. Like, So these are some things that um I see I foresee happening when it comes to the culture of breaking.
yeah.
The Olympics happens, and these aren't all bad things, but just something to keep your eyes peeled about, and understanding what we're saying yes to and what we're agreeing to. And I don't need to go around and we shouldn't be doing this. This is bullshit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, I'm not really big on it. I'm
Hmm.
good. It'll happen. It's gonna happen. It's here. It's
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. It's fine. It's gonna happen. It's just the aftermath. That's what I think where the most important part is. Are they gonna have it again? We did it this year. I saw the roster. It's not on the roster for the next Olympics, but
Right.
that doesn't mean that it can't change. But what does this mean when the breaking becomes an Olympic sport that's so continuous every 4 years for the next like 100 years? What does that look like now?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, exactly. So you pause and you think about it now, you know,
Yeah.
when
Bro.
you really think that when you actually think about it, what does that look like in the future? Do you think people will be dancing the same way? The classrooms are going to be changing. The classrooms are going to fill up. you know it's going to be all about execution. Here's all the major things you need to win, and we've
Mhm.
already got that problem now, and now it's just going to be times 10. you
Yeah.
know
Like you mentioned before, how like they could change things, right? Like being in the Olympic stuff, the cutout. certain rules and you can't do this or do that slowly things, right? Well, what I when you're I was picturing when you're saying that was like, okay, is it gonna be more towards our athleticism, or is it gonna lose the art form, the musicality within the art of that, right? Because
Yeah.
what brings the art form of dancing, right, with the music. So yeah, it definitely makes me think what's gonna be the possibilities down the road.
When you
But
said musicality being lost, I tell you the truth. I mean, musicality is a low percentage now.
right.
Like, so once it goes, it's going to be pretty much non-existent, and I think people have a really fucked up perspective on what they think musicality is. When I look at these jams, and this guy's killing the beat. Check this out, Heat. And I'm like, yeah, ooh, yeah. Like, yeah, he's killing it. Like, no, he's not. It's like, people don't really know what musicality is. So for it to go to the Olympics, you have to understand who's telling them what musicality is and what is their knowledge of musicality. So once they
Yeah.
tell this is musicality, and then the Olympics says, "Oh, okay, it's this," it's just going to slowly become more and more watered down as the years go by. You
Right.
know, they
Right.
don't got somebody like Why Not telling them specifically, like, no, this is this. They don't got someone like Buddha Stretch or the like Elite Force, those guys coming in and like explaining to them. They don't got these like old school poppers coming in and explaining to them, like, no, that shit that a lot of these B-boys do, that shit ain't musicality. That's just default, like this thing where they're rocking, and then here comes the two horns, like bah, bah, and then they hit the two horns, and everybody's like, his musicality is crazy, and I'm just like, no, nigga, that's just the 8 count, like, no, that's just 8, that's all that was. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's all that was. That was just an 8. Everything before that, they were off beat the entire time. They were hitting nothing the entire time, the other part of that song. They just hit those two fucking horns at the and 8. That's dumb easy. Okay. Other people like, he's rocking the beat. I'm like, they're not rocking the beat. They're just on beat. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. And half the motherfuckers don't know that because most people are off beat when it comes to breaking. You'd be surprised if I sat down and I showed all these cats who was off beat and how they don't know how to count music. You'd be blown. Your mind would be blown on how many of the dudes that everybody's like worshiping. And I'm like, that guy's off beat. And these are the types of things that I'm saying that go out the window with the dance all the fucking time. It goes out the window because people don't give a shit. They just like, well, they're doing an incredible move. We don't care if they're off beat, and I'm just like, that dude's off beat. Like, how y'all sit here and watch that, and none of y'all can see that this dude is off beat. None of y'all can see that. And so you're going to tell me when it goes to the Olympics that musicality is going to be there? It's not going to be there because most people don't have it. Like, they really don't understand what musicality is. They think musicality is hitting those two horns, or they think musicality is hitting like a couple of little beats, and that they like, here comes the part that goes do 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 do. There, everything else is off beat, and they hit the little do 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 do, and now everybody's like, their musicality. Like, I'm like, bro, pay attention to this. You got all these fucking instruments going on. You got like 5 different fucking instruments going on. You didn't hit not one of those fucking things. You waited for that little cymbal crash right there, and that was it. And then everything else is off beat. That's not musicality. That's just you waiting for some dumb shit. Like that really is like, anybody can do that shit. Anybody. And then these dudes are walking around like, yeah, and they get up and they point to their fucking ear like they did some shit. And I'm like, nigga, you didn't do nothing, bro. Like, you did nothing. I remember one time a kid did that to me. And I, like, right when I walked out on my round, I walked up to him and I said, do you know who I am? And I don't think he knew who I was. And I ripped that kid to shreds. I remember doing that. And I was just like, yo, bro, like, not to be a dick, but I'm just not, you're not on that level. I don't think you really fully understand what that is. Like, it's a whole other thing. And I can sit down with a lot of these dudes, I can sit down with Samo, Hannibal. I can sit down with Nemesis, all these dudes, like Floor Phantom, who's another dude, like Me 187. We all sit down and we all have our own perspective on musicality, but you best believe that we will all rip a hole in the floor with this shit because we understand music to a whole other level, you know? Your audio's off.
Oh,
Here we go.
I saw a video of exhibition, you and Hannibal. I
Ha!
forgot what year it was,
That was
but
19.
2019. Okay. Yeah, that thing was fire. Like I could feel it from the soul. Like you guys were getting down, right? And I don't know how to explain it. Like it just felt like you guys were killing the beat, musicality, right? With the soul. Like I feel like some of the moves, like some of it isn't like technically textbook breakdance moves, but with the beat and the breakdance style, that's what creates the style, right? Within the breaking, like the movement. Like I was like, oh shit, like this is sick. Like watching YouTube, like definitely, different level from what we normally would see with like power moves and other, you know, top rock things. Or I don't know. I felt like that was just holding another level when I saw that. And so when you're naming yourself and all these other cats, um, I definitely want to do some more research with you guys, but definitely when I watched that exhibition that resonated in my head right now was like it stuck to me, right? Because I don't see competitions like that beside unless they're throwing like big moves, power moves. But when it comes to like that type of dance, like yeah. So
Yeah, I think that exhibition came along at the right time. Shout outs to Gideon for putting that jam together. And the thing about that exhibition, you have to also realize that when that exhibition came out, the pandemic happened right after it.
mm,
So I think it was the last exhibition to come out before the pandemic. There was no other exhibition after that. So that exhibition was on loop for a very long time because it was the only exhibition, not the only one. There was Dr. Trey versus Box and DQ versus I forget who he was versing at that jam. But because that we were those last exhibition battles, that's why people watched them so much because it was the last thing to watch before the entire world had gone on lockdown. Everything had gotten on pause.
right.
But the thing that me versus Hannibal and the way that exhibition was going, I had no idea that was going to happen. I literally had a different attitude. I was like, okay, they're paying me to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go home. And Hannibal was like, yo, bro, let's try to leave. Like, let's try to make a mark. And in my
Yeah.
head, I was just like, man, I'm really tired. I want to go home because I was on the West Coast and, I was jet lagged and and it was early and I was hungry and I was just like, all right, cool. So, they call us up to do this exhibition. And in my head, if you watch that first round, I was taking it easy because I was just like, well, let's just do this and get going, right?
Okay.
And so, I'm just smashing a couple of rhythms, fucking around with the scratching and doing some stuff. And I waited for that break and everything, like playing around with all the different sounds. And then I finish, right? Hannibal comes in and then he does that move, that Vogue move. He wraps his leg around me, grabs his, slides down my
Uh-huh.
fucking. And I think I immediately was like, "Oh hell no!" And I said,
I can
"No,
feel it
you're not
from
about
your
to." I
perspective.
was like, "You're not about to embarrass me on tape like this." I said, "Oh hell no!" I said, "Okay." So props to him. Like, shout out to Hannibal. He brought it out of me because, like, I really was not gonna put in that much effort. I just didn't care. But then when he did that, I said, "Oh hell no, you're not about to do this to me." I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, let me do this. So then I said, "All right, you go. All right, you want to do shit like that?" I was like, wait till I do this next fucking round on you, bro." So I responded with the round, and then he came in, and Hannibal's character for that whole battle was incredible. And I think the dynamic and the contrast between the two of us is what really made a lot of it memorable. It wasn't just the musicality and the soul, it was the ability to express ourselves in a different way than what most people were used to.
Mm.
And then it
Yeah.
was almost like not almost, it was a real battle. And it was just like, I came out, I did that first round, and he was like, "Oh, for real? I'm going to make you look stupid. Boom, here you go." And then I said, "Oh, you going to make me look stupid? I'm going to burn you." "Okay, you going to burn me? I'm going to make you look stupid again. I'm going to clown you again." Boom. "All right, cool. You want to do that? I'm going to body you. Okay, let me body you on this last round." And then he says, "All right, you do that? All right, I'm going to clown you again." And this is the conversation,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't this conversation of like, "You did a 90, I'm gonna do a 90. You did a 90, I'm gonna do a 90. You did a 90." Like, it wasn't that type of conversation. It was more of an in-depth conversation of like, all right, wits, like, what do you got for this? The DJ was amazing. He put on the right tracks at the right time, you know.
Yeah.
Just fucking around with a lot of different things and kind of being able to play around with all of those different rhythms was incredible. Nowadays, these jams, they're playing a lot of the beats. They're playing the beats. And these, everybody's like, "Oh, this guy's killing the beat." And I'm like, if you knew how simple a lot of those beats were, you'd be able to do it too.
Mm.
You know, I came in the late 90s, and Lacey was a big DJ at the time. He was a big thing. And then
Okay.
there was DP1, he and GI Joe, they were a big deal. And then Forrest Get 'em Gump was a big deal. And then DJ Slinky was a thing. Slinky was a thing.
Okay.
Um, this was before Lean Rock and Flag was starting to get his shit together around the time, and so was Lean Rock, right? And this was way before those guys were anybody had ever heard of them.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm not familiar with them.
yeah, and then DJ Basic came out, and all of these guys were coming up. So the music that was being played then was mostly a lot of drums. Right. And they were still playing a lot of boom bap, and they were still playing a lot of the classics. So a lot of the music that was being played had so many different layers to it, and it wasn't funny. So even when you look at the way that I dance now, I'm still dancing as if I'm preparing for multiple layers in the way the music is. The music that's out now is so simplified, it's not even funny. There's only like 2 or 3 layers to the music that's being played now. And so
Mm.
it's easy. It really is easier. The music that was being played before, the intricacies in it was insane. You had to be quick. You needed to be able to think quick. That beat is going and then the vocals come in, and then the horns come in, and then that you still got that happening in the background on top of vocals, on top of these horns, and then that bass is going like that was just so much going on, and you had to pick and choose, and you had to be able to move all of those sounds at one go with your body. So my feet are hitting the bass, but my arms are going along with the horns, but my neck is hitting the drums. Like, that's musicality. That's musicality. Not this,
Oh
let
yeah.
me do a shuffle and wait to hit this horn real quick with a freeze real quick. Like, let me hit this air flare 1, 2, just to get the thing and then catch the free. That's not musicality. That's you waiting for the sound. Though one of the dudes that I know that does power that had good musicality that I like was Little G.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Little G. I like him. I like him when it comes to musicality and power. He
Yeah.
he actually he has a good understanding. I like the way when he does it, but some of these other cats, I don't give a shit. You know,
Right.
they try to give some of these other kids the title of like rocking beats and killing beats. I look at them and I'm like, no, that motherfucker ain't nowhere near it. That, if I had to give it to somebody, it would be Little G.
Damn.
I
Dope.
really, yeah, I would give it to him because I've seen him do some incredible stuff with music, and it wasn't just hitting two horns. He's really going in on certain sounds that most people are not picking up on, and he knows. Like I give it to that kid, but other cats, I'm like, nah. People have asked me about other dudes before, and I was like, fuck out of here, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn, that's dope, man. Um, I know we can talk forever,
yeah.
right? I think it's been some time with me and you and I. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here with the
Yeah.
recap. I think you done incredible explanation on certain things, dropping knowledge. I think you dropped a lot of golden nuggets in value
Mhm.
just to me and the viewers. I think it's definitely fire for sure. And before we wrap it up, I like to do what's called a cipher round. And so the rules is pretty simple. We're not actually breaking or ciphering or whatever. And we're gonna do I got like 5 questions, just whatever top of your mind comes up. You down?
All right.
All right.
All right, let's
So
do it.
same with the cipher round. So first question is what is your favorite breakdance move? It could be anything, footwear, power, um, you know.
I don't have a favorite move. I
Okay.
would say I have a favorite concept. I just like the original form of breaking.
Okay.
Like I like the 70s and 80s style of breaking. I like that style, like that look, that,
Okay.
that Ken Swift way of moving, that even like Ivan the urban action figure, that I like that way of moving.
Mm,
Ness, he was really getting down like Ho one, that way of creativity and moving, the hands, the hips, the feet, that drop, that's what I like. I like
okay.
this. So
Oh,
if I wouldn't say move, I would say style is important to me.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's dope. Um, do you have a favorite artist or band? Um, could be a song
And
or
you
a
broke up a
band.
little bit.
Oh, do you have a favorite artist or band? For example, my favorite, I love Linkin Park, right? And as it's one of my all-time favorites. Uh, do you have one?
When I was younger, my favorite group was Outkast.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah, I grew up in
yeah.
Georgia, and I was a big Outkast fan. I loved Outkast. I loved their first three albums a lot. Their fourth album was straight to me, and after that, I didn't really listen to them that much afterwards. But I was a huge Outkast fan. They were my favorite group growing up. As of right now, I just love music in general. I got a lot of different people that I listen to, that I enjoy listening to now, still to this day. I used to listen to Linkin Park when I was younger. I tried listening
For
to
sure.
some of those albums again, and I was like, nah. it it doesn't hit the same way anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the first three albums. The after anything after that, I was like, it's good, but it's not like what it was, right? And
Yeah.
so cool, man. Do you have a favorite book?
Favorite book, Ready Player One.
Oh, no way. Okay. I seen the movie. I haven't read the book of that. And the movie is definitely
Book I
phenomenal.
love.
It was really dope.
That's by far one of my that and the Four Agreements.
I haven't, yeah, okay. I'm not familiar with the Four Agreements.
Really, it's a
Okay.
short read, but a great book.
Awesome. Hell yeah, man. Um, do you like pineapple on pizza?
The what is it? The world will never know. It's one of those types of questions. The
Yeah, it stirs up
question.
convo
Oh my
where
God. I
I
actually,
love it.
I actually do. I actually do.
You do? Dope, dope. I do
That
too.
that with that and ham sometimes back when I used
Mm.
to eat ham when it was pineapple and ham, I really enjoyed it back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Want to do like a custom topping for like Hawaiian. I like to do pineapple, salami to instead of ham, actually, the salami and then chicken and like onions and the pineapple and stuff is bomb for
Sounds
sure.
so good.
Um,
Nah,
yeah, no.
Hawaiian, I love some poke. I
Oh, okay. Heck yes.
love poke, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Hell yeah. Okay. So, last question of the cipher. So, if you had a chance to enter with anybody on a two versus two, do you know who would that be?
Ever in their prime or like who's alive and rocking right now?
Um, Anybody, like someone like a dream would be to you, like who you entered with, or
Right, they
like
would
someone
be
you
in
would
their
love to enter
prime.
with, you know?
So all right, I'm gonna actually, I can't answer that as one, but
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a few. Me and Migas in his prime.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Migas was in his prime. This is actually, oh no, I've teamed up with Jigs already. So me and Jigs. Me and the homie Step Two still. Um,
Okay.
me and Eddie finally we already sealed that deal. Me and Why Not. I would like to team up with Why Not. Um, I'd like to team up with Kenny in his prime.
Which is Ken
Ken
Swift. Okay.
Ken Swift in his prime. I would love to team up with
Ooh.
Ken Swift in his prime. If I was still popping, I would have loved to team up with Wiggles.
Oh, okay.
I would have teamed up with Fables, and I would have teamed up with Chuko when he was in his prime too. Um, and I would have teamed up with Animation and Re as well. I would love to team up with Po One.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Abstract, B-Boy Abstract in his prime.
Okay.
He
Ooh.
was when he was like destroying it, like when he was at his most flexible. My homie Whack, I would have liked to team up with Whack when he was in his prime.
Okay.
Got kids now, slowed down a little bit, but he's still the homie. I would have loved to team up with him when he was in his prime. Um, who else?
Heck yeah.
Oh, Frantic, the popper.
Okay.
I would have loved to team up with Frantic when he was in his if no, well, he's still rocking it. But when he was younger and I was in my prime, I would have loved to team up with him.
Mm.
If I was in my prime as a popper, I would have loved to do that.
Dope.
Um,
Dope.
my homegirl Lady C when she as a popper in a popping competition. Um, I would have loved to do that. And who else is there? Maurizio when he was in his prime.
Okay. And these are
I would
popper,
love
and that's
no
all.
Maurizio. He goes by the one now, but Maurizio from Battle Squad.
Hmm.
Yeah, Storm, Maurizio, all those guys. Yeah, I would have liked to team up with Maurizio. I might be
Wow.
saying his name.
Uh,
Uh,
I know Storm.
yeah,
Like I said, I'm still learning the history. I'm learning still a lot of these cats, right? A lot of the people. within the dance. So I'm familiarizing with the history as I'm doing this as well. That's one thing I haven't dipped into when I was growing up and learning this stuff. The people that I surrounded myself with, we're just doing within like what we see in our town, right? And so really close minded at the time. And so definitely want to open up and explore the world. And so
Yeah.
that's just what I'm trying to learn. And there's so much learning to do in history out there that um it's catching up to me and new to me. And I really wish I learned this as I'm breaking. And so hopefully this can give some perspective to some new generation where it's, learn the history of breaking or dancing and popping while you
Hmm.
are still doing it too. Just kind of
Hmm.
like going to school. You're learning the history of other things. You got to learn some of the history of some of your hobbies and stuff like that, or your lifestyle and stuff like that. What you love to do. Get digging the roots.
Hmm.
Hell yeah! So
Yeah,
that
no,
was the
no.
last question.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
good,
no,
good.
man. No, I'm bringing in what the last thing that you said, but yeah, good
All
luck
right.
on that journey and doing that research and finding out all of these things. Like it really, it'll give you, that's the last piece of advice I can give anybody is do your history, do your research, like really, you'll have a better appreciation for the dance. A lot of these kids are just walking around with the basic understanding of where the dance comes from and who invented it and things like that, and blah, 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 blah. And they really didn't do a lot of deep searching. Like they don't know much about slavery in the United States, and they don't understand how slavery had a huge influence on breaking culture and why breaking culture even exists because of that. They don't know about like what happened to Puerto Rico and why there were so many Puerto Ricans in the Bronx to even have that influence on breaking as well. So these are the things that people need to actually do your research on, and why are there so many people involved in this and how did they get involved in it is because of X, Y, and Z. And that led them to here. And because that culture was like this, that's what they brought into the culture. And this is what they've contributed. And this is why these people had their contribution to it, you know. And this will help break down some confusion too, because there's a lot of confusion out there of who started what, you know. So I do think that it's important that you go on that journey and do that research, my man.
Oh yeah. I love it, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to get on this. If people want to get in touch with you, where would be the best source to find you?
You can find me through social media. I have a TikTok. It's Ivan Ivan dot heat dot rock dot one.
Okay.
So, and then that's TikTok, and then there you can get me through Instagram, which is probably the best one is Instagram. And it's just I have two. So I have my visual art one, which is my real name at Ivan Cofield, IvanCof, as in Frank, IELD. And then my breaking one, which is at Heat Rock One. That's HeatRockone. And then I have my website, ivancofield.com.
Dope. Dope.
Yeah,
And I'll link that all in description below.
yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, bro, thanks again for being on the
You.
podcast. I think you are the first one to have this long of a
Yeah,
conversation. And
told you I could
so
be long-winded. Yeah, I told you I could be long-winded. My bad, bro.
no, it's dope. I think for the people that want to get in more knowledge and the mindset of what we discussed, definitely stick around and listen to it all. If it is long, I might cut a one or two, one, part two.
Yeah,
But I'll see once I get through the edits and stuff like that. But if you guys find this channel valuable, you got inspired, or maybe you just want to know some of the breaking history of B-Boy Heat Rock, um, you know, like it, share it, subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. huge inspiration in the scene. Definitely a great role model, you know, doing this till this day.
One thing that I noticed the modern age of breaking with all these new kids coming up is a lot of them don't know who I am. A lot of them don't know the people from my era. A lot of them don't know why their favorite breaker is doing this certain move. You know what I mean? They don't know where it comes from. They don't know who's who and what's what. So a lot of the knowledge is lost. People should start doing a little bit more homework, because I know the mentality. I know because I hear it. I talk to kids and they're like, I don't want to watch that old shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, bro, like, you don't even know, dude. Like, it's a whole different world. Like, the originality was at an all-time high back then. Like, all different unique characters. Like, if you go look at what's happening right now and then go look at what happened back then, it's two different things, man. I mean, people are implementing stuff that was happening back then for sure, but now you have less originals.